Note, start from the beginning of the series for the complete story.
Summary.
The war has begun. The American government ordered an airstrike against us, on sovereign soil. There had been no declaration of war. There was no diplomatic play, just an immediate airstrike from Eielson Air Base. Rest assured, we will answer this call to arms. We will prevail. The United States violated every condition of the Treaty of Peace we, the Supernaturals, had initiated over 20 years ago. Now is the time to show why we have existed for thousands of years, how we have survived against all odds. Our way was to peacefully exist. Their way was to control, conquer, and enslave. Humans have no idea what is coming. Unfortunately, their own government knows. They just don't care.
Chapter 1. Any more questions?
All day long, the airstrikes are coming. Evander has been fielding calls from all the supernatural groups in our realm. All of them are concerned, naturally. He is having everyone gather at 8 p.m. to join a conference call with Draco. It's time to initiate the battle plan that has been in place for centuries. Draco is getting ready for a press conference. As Colleen and Jacob, Draconium's resident reporters, have been filming live all day. The witches have deflected bombs every few hours. Everyone in Draconium is covered in glitter. The phone rang and Evander answered it. Councilman Thompson snarled into the phone. "What did you do?" Evander laughed. "You automatically assume it is something I have done. Tell you what, Thompson. You and your merry band of traitors join the humans. Hicks is already in their pocket. We are being attacked, and you have the balls to ask what I did?" Thompson responds, "The humans wouldn't attack without provocation. It must be something you or the king has done." Evander responded, "You're right. We rescued all the supernaturals the humans held in captivity, treating them as lab rats, science experiments, guinea pigs. We saved our species from cruel and unusual conditions. So yes, we prevented illegal actions against our people. Had you bothered, you would have been allowed the evidence of the humans' crimes against us." He hung the phone up, and Adriana crawled into his lap. "I want to address the public. I am the reason this is happening, and I want them to know what I am now because of the humans." Evander immediately started to disagree. Instead, he said, "Let's go talk to Dad." They walked into the conference room where Draco was setting up, and Adriana asked to speak to him. He sat and took her hand. "How can I help?" She smiled and said, "I would like to sit in on this press conference. I want everyone to realize what the humans are doing. Maybe tell my side. Then everyone can decide what to believe." Draco didn't hesitate. "I think that is a great idea. Do you have a photo of you before the humans kidnapped you?" She nodded and ran to get it. Evander said, "I'm worried, Dad. If she does this, she will become the poster face of this conflict. Some will love her. Many will hate her." Draco said, "No, son. Every war needs a catalyst. She can be that. A lot of humans are unaware of what is happening. We have to make her story known. Shit like this has been happening for years. If she can end this conflict sooner, then she will feel vindicated instead of responsible." Colleen walked in and said, 10 reporters are here. We need to get this show on the road. The president has scheduled a press release for 8 this evening. Ours will go out 4 hours beforehand. I have the edits ready of the F-16s flying over, dropping bombs." Draco looked at Evander. "Make sure our people are safe. Inside, those bombers are going to step up their game." Evander nodded, walking out to find Eric and his mother. He wants to make sure the bunkers are ready. He has a feeling they are going to need them all. Draco sat Adriana beside him, waiting on the cameraman's cue to begin speaking. On the 3-2-1 signal, Draco sat up straighter. "Hello again. As many of you know, I am King Draco Arconium. My message this afternoon is to inform you the United States have attacked my kingdom, without provocation, and with no declaration of war. Beside me is my daughter by marriage. She wants to speak to you all, to explain why this is happening. Adriana, tell them your story. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Adriana Mosley Arconium. At the age of 13, my birth pack was attacked by humans. I was abducted, taken to an underground laboratory. There, I was experimented on daily. I was injected with DNA of all supernatural species. I was born a high-born pure-blood wolf. Now I am a mix of many species. This photo, this was me. I had blonde hair and blue eyes. If you look at my eyes now, you will see 3 different colors. My hair, this red, blue, and purple, are permanent. I can't even dye it away. I was tortured, beaten, injected with steroids and other drugs to see how I would react. When I first got there were a few hundred like me, all being treated the same as me. When I escaped, there was only 15 survivors. I rescued them before I destroyed the place. I don't know why I survived, but I do know my DNA has been altered forever. I also know their purpose in doing what they've done was to weaponize me and use me to kill supernatural people. A reporter in the back asked, "How do we know you didn't dye your hair to look like that? Wear contacts as propaganda to make us believe you." She smiled and stood. "I have proof, and I will show you." She balanced a fireball in her palm. Tossing it into the air, she snapped her fingers, changing it to a bubble. Snapping them again, she froze it to a ball of ice. Then she summoned the wind. It raced through the room and out the window. Closing her eyes, she forced her fairy wings out of her back. Drawing her body into a small sprite, she flitted to a bookshelf and perched on it. Then transformed back to her original form, and Draco placed his shirt over her. She asked, "Any more questions?"
Important note.
To all our listeners, if you've been swept away by the captivating tale and are enjoying the journey, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Additionally, for those who prefer reading over listening, you can subscribe to our Book Lover Aficionado package on Patreon for just $10 a month, where you'll have access to both listen and read options. Your donations mean the world to us and help us bring even more thrilling stories to life. Find the Patreon link in the description below and become a part of our storytelling community today.
Chapter 2. Go retrieve the pilot.
Everyone in the room was silent for about 20 seconds. Then Colleen asked, "Can you tell us if there are others like you?" Adriana nodded. "Yes, some survived different DNA. Fairies could tolerate elves' DNA, but would die if they were added witches. Witches could survive fairy DNA. Shifters could tolerate any of the elves, fairies, or witches, but not a combination of mixture. None survived shifter DNA. I believe I survived because I was the youngest victim. And my bloodline, my family is blessed by the goddess. I believe that aided in my survival. That's not to say I wasn't sick. I nearly died. Several times. 4 to be exact. I would go comatose, then wake up 2 or 3 weeks later." Jacob asked, "And were they able to weaponize you?" She grinned. "They were. But they were not able to turn me against my kind. They tried. Every day, I frustrated them. A lot. That is the main reason they were harder on me. Dr. Richardson used to lash me with a whip, always saying they would break me. They did, but not in the way they expected." Another reporter asked, "In what way then?" Adriana responded, "They broke me in such a way. I vowed everyone that had beaten, injected, tortured me would die by my hand. And they did. This cannot be allowed to continue. The American government has funded these torture facilities for over a decade, killing over 2,000 of our kind. We have every reason to hate humans, but we do not. We do not want this war. As evidenced by our lack of retaliatory action against the airstrikes we have endured this entire day. Your president is wasting money. There have been over 200 bombs and missiles launched at us already. Still, we haven't retaliated. The time when we no longer ignore these attacks is rapidly coming to a close. We urge all humans to plead with your officials to cease and desist. I said we don't want a war. I did not say we will continue to remain impassive. Draco told the reporters, "Your president will address his nation at 8 tonight. I doubt he will allow you questions. I believe in full disclosure. You are free to access our website and read everything we have uncovered in this conspiracy against the supernaturals. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your continued support." Colleen stepped over to Draco. "We had almost 4 million viewers. The word is being spread." He nodded. "We need to let the humans know. We are more than happy to shelter them. Keep them safe." Everyone gathered in the conference room to watch the president give his speech. They knew he was going to spew a ton of bullshit, but they knew they had Ro hear it too. President Pog walked out and started speaking. "My fellow Americans, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you. Today, our military performed a preemptive strike against the kingdom of Draconium. The supernaturals have attacked us facilities around the country over a period of several months. After multiple warnings from this administration that they cease and desist several nights ago, 2 oiled rigs in the Gulf of Mexico were attacked and destroyed. 37 military and civilian personnel lost their lives. After careful consideration, my Joint Chiefs and I decided the time has come to make a stand. This cannot and will not be allowed. The air strikes will continue, as well as a ground war being executed. We are the superior race, and we will prevail. The time has come to take back our country. I ask that you stand with us. Support our military servicemen and women as we endeavor to end the acts of terrorism against us. There will be no questions at this time. The White House will release statements to keep you apprised of the situation as the need arises. Thank you." He walked out, just like Draco said he would, and as he did, we heard the incoming jets. Evander stood and ran to the door, telling the pack it was time to retaliate. The witches stood ready, and as missiles were launched, they either exploded them in the air or redirected them back at the jets. The time to sit idly by is over. They brought the war to the supernaturals, and now it was time to play their game. Adriana stood close to Evander and helped the witches. As a bomb was dropped, she exploded it, directly under the F-16 that launched it, causing the jet to lose a wing. The pilot turned the jet to the right. He ejected, and the plane crashed into the mountains. Evander looked at 4 warriors. "Go retrieve the pilot."
Chapter 3, he drove away.
Evander had the pilot brought to his office after Doc had patched him up. He offered him a drink, and then he had him sit and propped his leg on a separate chair. His knee had been injured. The lieutenant chuckled and said, "I must admit, this isn't how I'd heard prisoners of war are treated." Evander didn't speak until his mom and dad walked in with Adriana. Then he said, "You're not a prisoner of war, Lieutenant. You're not even our enemy. The supernaturals are not at war with humans. Your president and his administration is at war with the supernaturals. Unfortunately, he is your commander-in-chief, and you are following orders, something we understand very well." Draco said, "As supernaturals, our leaders possess a powerful command. Once an alpha orders his pack to do or not do something, the beast inside instinctually obeys. It is nearly impossible to disobey a command." Adriana told him, "In short, even should you capture one of us, extracting information would be impossible. We wish humans no harm. More importantly, we will not stand for any more of our supernaturals to be harmed by humans." The lieutenant said, "My name is Dave Anderson. Please call me Dave. I'm sorry. Our military is being fed a lot of negative information. Allow me to show you?" Aurora handed him a tablet, and he pulled up his personal email. He said, "Read the top 3 emails. It will show you why we are attacking." Blake plugged the tablet into the television and streamed the tablet. Aurora read them all out loud and looked at Dave. "Absolutely every word is a false narrative, Dave. What if we prove to you that it is?" He nodded and told us, "I was afraid of that. My best friend, Colin, is a werebear. He saved my life more than once when we served in Afghanistan. I was finding it hard to believe what we are being told." Evander responded, "We have pulled all our people out of your military. They will all be back here within days. No longer will your government benefit from our aid, our strengths. Unfortunately, your president did not think this through when he began funding the research into our species." Dave said, "So what now? Do I sit out the conflict in your cells?" Draco chuckled. "Absolutely not, Lieutenant. After your knee is better, I will fly you back to your base on Dana." Dave looked puzzled. "Dana? You have your own airline." Everyone laughed, while Draco said, "In a way, Dana is my dragon." He gasped. "Your beasts have names? Can they talk? How do you communicate?" Evander said, "They can communicate with other supernatural beings, but not with humans. They exist in our mind space and communicate with us all the time. My beasts, I am hybrid, are Argon, my dragon, and Braxton, my wolf." Dave's eyes were huge. "I was completely unaware they were sentient beings. We have been told your beasts are maniacal beings that are violent killers, with no conscious thought except to cause harm." Aurora asked, "Did Colin strike you as such a person? Did you ever meet his bear?" Shaking his head, Dave told them, "He said he had been ordered not to shift in front of humans." "Oh, that Alpha Command thing?" Draco nodded. He asked him, "Would you like to meet some of our beasts? You can see for yourself what kind of mindless killers we are for yourself." He nodded, and we all stood. Evander told him, "I'm going to piggyback you outside, if that's okay. We don't want you to damage your knee." Eric ran in. He flipped the television to a news outlet. There, everyone watched the press secretary talking about Dave and how he was shot out of the sky and presumed dead, that the supers had fired missiles on the jets. Dave scoffed. "That is bullshit. My own fucking missile took me out. It misfired." Adriana said, "No, it didn't. I made it explode as soon as Ott left the chute. We wanted to speak directly to one of you." He nodded and said, "Damn, that's pretty cool, though. What if I would have died, though?" She smiled. "I wouldn't have let that happen. It's why I targeted the wing." They took him outside to the landing center. Draco shifted into Dana. Evander allowed Braxton forth. Adriana pulled her ferry to the front. They all interacted with Dave. Adriana shifted from her ferry directly to Sadie in front of him, shocking him, then making him laugh. Once they were back inside, Dave said, "I have to let my CO know we can't continue this way. I will sit out this conflagration in prison before I fly another mission against you. This is bullshit. I have to get back to the base." Draco said, "I will take you." But Dave was already shaking his head. "No, I can't allow that. They will try to capture you or kill you in their ignorance. I won't risk that. If I can't get them to see reason, will I be allowed back here? I would rather be labeled a deserter than a murderer." Aurora said, "You will always be welcomed here, Dave. Now, let's get you fed and off that knee for the night. Tomorrow, we will give you a car to drive back to your base." She took his arm and led him to the kitchen. As he sat at the counter, Colleen walked in. They just stared at each other for long minutes. Adriana giggled. Apparently, humans feel a mate bond of sorts too. Shame they can't recognize it. Colleen shook her head. Lieutenant, would you be willing to go on television? Tell what happened to you? He smiled and told her, call me Dave. And I absolutely want to. I want people to know how badly we are being lied to. Everything was set up, and he sat down in front of the cameras. Once they were rolling, Colleen said, Colleen Phillips, coming to you live from the Draconian Kingdom. I have Lieutenant David Anderson with me, and he would like to say a few words. Tell us, Lieutenant, what has been your experience here as a guest of the king? Dave smiled into the camera. Yes, Colleen, thank you. First, I want to preface this with saying I was not shot down. A missile I had launched hung in the chute. It detonated and severed a wing of my F-16. I was going down. I had no choice but to eject. The supernatural beings we are told are dangerous, we need to eradicate, rescued me, gave me medical attention, fed me, and have given me a beautiful room to sleep in for the night. In the morning, they are providing transportation to return to Iceland base. These people are supportive, helpful, and kind. We have been misinformed. Colleen grinned. Thank you for your time, Lieutenant. I hope your knee feels better soon. The morning came. After exchanging contact information, Dave was given a car, and he drove away.
Chapter 4. Have you met me?
They hadn't heard anything from Dave. However, the air strikes had slowed down, but lately ground strikes are accelerating. More and more supernatural species are gravitating toward Draconian Kingdom for protection. 2 fairy flutters arrived in the night. An elf enchantment arrived the day before. There was now 4 witch covens in residence. The other shifter species are showing up daily. There has already been over 100 deaths, and Draco has had enough. He has set up a live broadcast to record and air his call to President Pog. He will issue a demand to stand down, or retaliation is imminent. He introduced himself to the cameras. Blake and Adrian had hacked all networks, even satellite and cable. This phone conversation would be a blanketed broadcast for everyone to see. The phone call connected, and he put it on speaker. President Pog, this is Draco Arconium. Pog growled into the phone. I am well aware of who this is, King. Draco smiled at the camera. Then you are well aware of why I am calling. I am asking, begging actually, one more time, to stop this exercise in futility. Humans will perish if you persist. You have ordered ground strikes against 7 supernatural groups, killing over 100 of our people. I have been patient. I have not retaliated. Pog said, you, and all those like you, pose a threat to our very existence. I refuse to stand down until you either surrender or every last one of you is eradicated from the planet. Draco said, then you are a fool. I will not lose one more of our species. I have asked you, begged you, demanded you stand down. How many death warrants must you sign in your quest for our annihilation? You will fail. You will lose. To jeopardize the lives of every human in this great nation is maniacal. You are delusional to even think you would obtain victory. Pog snarled, consider this a declaration of war. Arconium, I will exhaust the entire arsenal of the might of the United States defeating you. Prepare for all-out war. He slammed the phone down, and Draco sighed. He looked back at the camera and said, I appeal to the human population. Hole up, hunker down. We don't want to be responsible for the deaths of the American people. But we will no longer stand idly by while our species are being murdered in their sleep. I have tried 7 ways from Sunday to have your leaders stand down. What happens now is on his head. Just as the broadcast was set to end, the phone rang. Draco held a finger up, signaling Connie to wait. As he answered, King Draco, Who am I speaking with? A voice with a Russian accent said, King Draco. You are speaking with King Dmitry Vulcan, emissary to the vampire faction of Slovenia. I am calling to offer aid. We are allies, and should you need us in this conflict, please know we stand ready. Draco grinned and replied, Dmitry, old friend, it is good to hear from you again. I appreciate your offer. But at this time, I am not in need of your assistance. I would ask that you do bring to bear the influence you have with European and Asian leaders to stop President Pog before there is no longer an America for him to lead. Dmitry responded with, As you wish, my friend. Before the call ended, Draco looked into the camera. There it is, people. The United States has become a joke on the world stage. Adriana walked in, carrying a 6-month-old Avery, and he immediately held out grabby hands for his grandpa. Draco took him, bouncing him on his knee. Evander walked in, Dad. Sacred Moon was attacked last night. They lost 40 members. The pack is headed here for sanctuary, around 300. Adriana said, We have equipped the caves. There's electricity and running water. 4 are large enough to house entire packs. Evander nodded, then asked Draco, Are you telling Mom, or should I? Draco shook his head. I will. This should be good. Adriana asked, What am I missing? Is Mom going to be upset? Evander chuckled. She will be thrilled to see her brother and best friend. The alpha and his mate, not so much. Aurora walked in and smiled. Lifting Avery, she said, You wanted to see me? Draco pulled them both into his lap. Baby girl, Sacred Moon was attacked last night. She buried her face into Avery and whispered, Fuck me. Adriana said, I have an idea that's going to be his first word. Making everyone laugh, Evander said, Baby. The Luna is Amelia. She looks just like Mom. Adriana asked, A twin? Evander nodded and said, No. Mom disowned her over 20 years ago. She is an awful individual. But Uncle Caleb is awesome. Aunt Naomi rocks too. My cousin Xavier is cool too. Adriana nodded and responded, I will do my best to not be prejudiced against the Luna, but she'd better pray she don't come for my mom. Aurora chuckled, saying, Is it wrong of me to hope she does? I would love to see a little more karma sent her way. I would be happy. Does that make me a bad person? Adriana laughed. Nope. I can be karma. Have you met me?
Chapter 5, Meet My Daughter, Adriana's POV.
Sacred Moon showed up at noon the next day. I watched as Caleb and Naomi hugged and kissed Aurora. As tears streamed down her cheeks, I noticed an elderly couple standing off to one side. Evander leaned over. Those are my biological grandparents, Allison and Chancey Griffin. Caleb and Mom disowned them when Anderson rejected my mom as his true mate in favor of Amelia. His dad, John, encouraged it, but Bridget hates her. The irony is, Dad turned out to be Amelia's true mate, and he rejected her, of course. I listened, bug-eyed. The fuck? Holy Jerry Springer entire season. What a fuked-up family. My mate laughed uproariously. You don't know the half of it. He was introducing us. Naomi had already taken Avery, fussing over him and walking away with Mom and Bridget. When this bitch said to Dad, When are you going to admit you have made a mistake and accept me? Oh my goddess, heat rushed through me. Dad's face was beet red. I sneered, 24 years, bitch, a quarter of a century. He hasn't given a single thought to your dumb ass. You do not come into our home with your self-entitled bullshit and disrupt my family. Upset my parents again. Cause a single tear to come to my mom's eye. I will end you. Do you understand me? She started to say something, and I snarled, Do not speak to me. Nod if you are capable of comprehension. Otherwise, your participation in this conversation is not required. She nodded. Dad yanked me up and spun me around, laughing. I adore you, my daughter. You have made my day. We walked inside to the dining hall. I noticed my family was seated, so I tucked Avery into his high chair and sat beside my handsome mate. Aunt Naomi said, "He is such an angel baby. I have never seen a little one as well behaved as he is." I smiled. Mom works wonders with him. She has taught me so much about being a good mother, always stepping in when I have my meltdown moments. I couldn't do this without her. Caleb grinned at me. Rory has always been goddess sent. It does my heart good to feel the love that surrounds her now. Evander said, Mom and Dad love Adriana as much as they love Ada, Eric, and Ricky. It was an easy adjustment for the whole family. Avery just tied it all together. I looked at Anderson's son and asked, "How's it going since you ascended? Everything going smoothly?" He sneered, "Like any of you people care?" Anderson said, "Lincoln, do not insult the people who have taken us in." He growled, "It's their job, Dad, their family." I watched Anderson pinch the bridge of his nose and take a deep breath. Poor man. He looked at me and said, "Luna Adriana, please allow me to apologize. My son seems to have left his manners in his back pocket. I am very grateful for the privilege of sheltering in your kingdom." I smiled at this gracious man who bears the shame of his family so eloquently, Alpha Anderson. "It is our privilege to offer you sanctuary. You are indeed family, no matter how ungrateful Lincoln seems. Perhaps you might consider a rescinded title until he matures a bit more." Lincoln snaps, "You need to mind your own business, Luna. I am mature enough to handle my duties," I responded. "You are indeed your mother's son, boy. If you ever dare to speak to me in that tone again, I will drag your sorry ass outside and teach you what respect is. Now shut up and eat your meal or leave my table." Evander and Blake lost it. Eric said, "And you are schooled, boy." He slammed his fists on the table and stormed out. Anderson opened his mouth, but before he could speak, I held my hand up and smiled. "Don't, Uncle Anderson. Apologizing for the actions of another steals your dignity. That young man is fully aware of his actions. He knows it makes him look like a douchecano. Yet he still chooses to act accordingly. It is no fault of yours." Amelia snapped, "We didn't come here to be abused. How dare you treat us like we are beneath you? You act as if you are my sister's birth child. You are not. You are no different than me." Aurora said, "Enough. You dare speak to any of my children with anything but respect, and I will enjoy ripping you into little pieces and throwing your remains to the humans." Eric grinned. "I love family reunions. Wait until Miss Entitlement learns where she's going to be living. That's going to be a whole other shitshow I'm going to enjoy." Evander said, "Eric, enough." I giggled and high-fived Eric, Draco said, loudly and authoritatively. "While this has been highly entertaining, please bear in mind we have to work together. This petty bullshit will not continue." Anderson said, "I apologize, King Draco. I had spoken to them both before we arrived. Apparently, nothing I say matters." And he glared at Amelia. She had the decency to hang her head. Draco said, "Anderson, you have apologized for your past transgressions, and Aurora and myself have put it behind us as well. Like our daughter has said, you are not responsible for the actions of others. It is safe to say. Amelia hasn't taken the last 24 years to mature. I fear she never will. That is on her. You still have our full support." Blake leaned over and whispered, "Wait until she's told about the cave." I chuckled. "Boom goes the dynamite?" He nods. "Oh yeah, big time." Evander shushed us both, and I stuck my tongue out at him. He just leaned into me and kissed me, making me giggle again. Mom said to Anderson, "After lunch, Adriana and I will take you to the cave. It has been equipped as eloquently as our pack house. We have sectioned off sleeping quarters, put in tiled flooring. It has electricity, running water, a fully functioning kitchen, with refrigeration and cook stoves, a fully stocked pantry, as well as freezers. Your pack is already getting settled." Amelia started to open her mouth and Mom held her hand up, continuing, "However, Adriana has set aside accommodations in the pack house for you. And your Luna Mom spat that word at Amelia if you so desire." Anderson smiled. "I can't thank you enough, Queen Aurora. We are grateful and honored at the lengths you have gone to accommodate us." Only to have Amelia snark, "I will not stay as some dirty cave like a Neanderthal. I am a lady. As such, I am entitled to stay in close proximity to my actual mate, Aurora. You have taken enough from me." Blake said, "See?" But I was too far gone. How fucking dare she? I stood and snatched her ass off her chair and dragged her outside. I threw her to the ground and Sadie was in front of me. "I fucking warned you, bitch. Did I not warn you? You have no actual mate, skank. Unless we are going on the men I can smell on you right fucking now. Not one of them being my dad. Get up. Get on your goddess-damned feet. Mom may not beat the brakes off your slutty ass. But I will. I will beat your sorry soul bloody. Get up, bitch." She just laid on the ground, whimpering. Evander pulled me into him, calming me down immediately. Dad laughed and said, "Allow me to introduce everyone to my daughter."
Chapter 6 Our Time Has Come. Evander's POV.
My beautiful mate. She is always so protective, especially of my mom. Losing her mother while she was in captivity did something to her. She is terrified now where mine is concerned, and it makes her possessive to the point of obsession. I only pray we get through this war without her killing Amelia. Not that I'd mind, just that I don't want my baby to carry that around her whole life. Eric and Blake don't help. They encourage her. I know they find it amusing how volatile she is. But damn, cut a brother some slack here. Mom walks over with Aunt Naomi, who keeps snickering. Mom says, "You have no idea how much I adore Adriana. She makes me so proud. I just don't want her to do anything that will hurt her soul." I nodded and told her, "I will speak with her, Mom. She loves you so much." And Amelia keeps running her cocksucker got slapped sorry, her pie hole, and Anna just loses it. In her defense, Amelia is an asshole. Naomi cracks up, "Dude, I was praying, out loud, hoping to goddess our girl would snap Amelia's neck. When her wolf pushed to the surface, I was laughing in utter excitement. Has her wolf imprinted?" I nodded and told them I believe she has. Sadie had been so lost when Adriana escaped and found out her own mother had died. She needed that maternal influence, and Isla filled that void. Mom grinned and said, "Isla has accepted her as our child too. She is as much my daughter as Ada and Ricky are. I just don't want her to scar her soul with that trash." I nodded, smiling. My girl is ferocious when it comes to her family. Alarms sounded, and I saw my mate run to meet the witches. We could hear the F-16s coming, wondering why. After nearly 2 months of nothing from the air, I watched. As they appeared, one jet veered left and did a flyby on the pack house. I knew it was Dave, letting us know he wouldn't attack. He followed his trajectory and fled into the mountains. The others dipped lower than usual, and when I realized their intent, 7 jets fired all 6 AIM-9 Sidewinders and unleashed the M60 1A1 6-barrel Gatlin on our people. I screamed, "Take cover," and grabbed Mom and Aunt Naomi, slamming them under the veranda. Dad and Eric ran to our SAM launchers and started firing. Adriana stood in the open and kept sending the sidewinders into one another. Within minutes, the jets had retreated, and 9 of our own laid dead. I heard the wailing, felt the grief, the hollowness in my soul of 9 snapped tethers. My mate hit her knees. I ran to her and pulled her to me. As Caleb and my mother began their grieving heart song, howling into the evening air, my father stood, proud and stoic, looking out over our kingdom. Donna arose, making my dad look like the mountain he is. Tonight, this night, we lost. 9 innocent souls will rise to meet our goddess. Tonight, we avenge our own. Prepare. At midnight, the human airbase falls. There will be nothing. We leave all but one alive. David Anderson is the only one to receive our mercy. I lifted Adriana and said, "Prepare the pyres. We send our people home." She nodded as Mom and Aunt Naomi joined us. Mom looked at us, hugging us both. "Go. Prepare yourselves. Naomi and I have this. We will protect Avery." I nodded and walked off to meet up with Dad and my brother. Dad hugs me close. He whispered, "I am so very proud of you. No matter how long I live, my son, I will never be able to thank you enough. Your quick thinking saved your mother. In that, you saved me." A tear rolled down my cheek, knowing I could have lost both my parents this day, all because we simply want to exist. The funeral pyres were erected. All our people had assembled. Adriana and I stood on the dais, in front of the podium. She stepped to the microphone and began to speak. "Our hearts are heavy this night. The humans have taken what is not theirs to take. The souls of our brethren will rise tonight. Enfolded in the arms of our goddess, we will rise from the ashes of these funeral pyres. We will make our enemies regret what they have caused this day. The time has come for us to be recognized, for our species to make our presence known. It is our right, our privilege. Our goddess tells us to go in peace. She tells us to protect our own, to defend what is ours, to avenge, as is our right. We have tried peace. We have exercised restraint. We have allowed the humans license to walk alongside our kind. They have abused that privilege. They have used us, abused us, and treated us as less than they are. That ends tonight. That ended when they took 9 of us from this earth. This is our realm. We allowed them to live with us, have tried to find a way to coexist without prejudice. The path they have chosen to walk is one of destruction. This is the night we take back what they have deprived us of, cheated us out of. Tonight, we take back our own." Our pack went wild. She was crying as she finished. My mom was sobbing. We stepped back and allowed the families to speak, to say their goodbyes. The funeral pyres were ignited. We all stood, silently as watched. The flames danced higher. In awe, we all watched as the souls of the fallen, their beasts, arose from the fires, turned, looked directly at their families, and soared toward the moon. The goddess allows us to know she had called them home. It was enough. It renewed our faith. It fueled our resolve. This is the final straw. We had sat the sidelines long enough. The humans had taken all they would ever take. Our time has come.
Chapter 7. We headed home. Adriana's POV.
As I dress in my black cargos and turtleneck, lacing up my combat boots, I look over at Mom, dressed much the same, as Naomi waltzed in with a duffel bag containing all our weapons. I tuck my poignards and daggers into my boots and weapons belt. Mom slides her knives into the sheaths tucked into her waistband, her Sinise stars into her pockets. Naomi grins, looking at us, and says, "Good times, my persons." Mom says, "Great times," as she smiles at me. I told them, "Time to mount our dragons," and they both laugh. Yes, I know, we aren't right in the head, but it's payback time. Time to be noticed. Time to be heard. Time to take back our own. We tried peace. We tried negotiating. We tried pleading. We gave Pog every opportunity. Far more than we ever think about giving another pack. Pride. Or where. Tonight. They took our choice away. Tonight, they forced our hand. We met Dad and Evander in the clearing. Uncle Caleb was there with Anderson. Draco asked if we were ready. At our nod, he shouted, "Dragons ready," and they shifted. As long as I live, I will never get used to the majesty of it. I climbed on Argon's back, Mom on Donaw's. Anderson was on Adrian's dragon Delego, with Caleb on Naomi's. The 4 dragons took to the air in a beautiful dance of synchronicity. With our pack following, we flew in a perfect V, Draco leading, Argon to his left, Delego on his right. Anderson's face was awestruck. He'd never been on a dragon's back before. We landed dead center of the tarmac, while our wolves took out the guards on the perimeter. The men dressed, and we split up. Draco immediately went to the command center. Caleb and Naomi took the tower, while Evander and I headed to the barracks. As we approached, the barracks door swung open. Dave stood there, smiling. A little later than I expected, but welcome. 2 in the kitchen, everyone else in their bunks. Evander said, "They took 9. One was 14, Dave," he sighed, shaking his head. "I'm so sorry, man. I tried to break formation earlier to warn you. Captain ordered me back to base." I touched his arm. "There was nothing you could do, Dave. Pog is dead set on this suicide mission." Evander and I entered the barracks with 10 of our men. We took the 2 in the kitchen down with little resistance. The 27 others we woke by dragging them from their bunks, rounding them up and shoving them to their knees in the common area. Evander yelled, "How's it feel to be killers of children? Aren't you proud? Following a man with an agenda to end your country, your government." A brave soul said, "There are always casualties in war. You aren't even human. Why should we feel bad?" I slapped him and said, "You're right. We aren't human. We thank our goddess every day for that. We value life. All life, even pathetic human lives. But we value our children's lives above all else." We stood them all to their feet, marching them to the middle of the tarmac. Their officers and their encos stood waiting. Draco said, "You are not our prisoners. What you did, you were ordered to do. But hear me now. This is your only chance. Fly another mission against my people, and you will die. Follow the dictates of Pog one more time. I will kill you all." Evander told Blake, "Take every person's information. Names, rank, moss. We will match it with the information in our database. That way we know their families and where they are. Hopefully, Pog stops his bullshit so they survive." Draco ordered all the service personnel into one hangar, securing the doors from the outside. Then we destroyed every fighter jet and every building on the base. Our fire breathers burned everything in their path, blowing every jet up, destroying their arsenal and their fueling depot. The explosions shook the night. The fireballs could be seen for miles. We left nothing but that single hangar, housing the military personnel. By dawn, everything was ashes. The tarmac and launch pads were literally melted from the intense heat. I summoned the earth, allowing her to heal the scars upon her soil. By the time it was finished, it looked as if an airbase had never stood there at all. Evander opened the hangar doors, allowing everyone to step out. The commander asked, "What did you do? Where is everything?" I laughed. "The earth has reclaimed her own. All of you have a long walk ahead of you. When you reach civilization, tell Pog this is mild. Next time, we meet violence with violence. You survived today by our grace. Murder one more of our people, and you will not live to tell the tale. Draco yelled, dragons up, and we climbed on their backs. Dave included. They took to the air, flying a circle around the base and swooping low over the servicemen, scattering them. I laughed at their antics, and we headed home.
Chapter 8, Dinner and a Show. Evander's POV.
It's been 2 weeks since the airstrike. There have been no more, but the ground strikes have stepped up. I contacted Dad and Xander to take in some refugees. Now Luna Lake is overflowing. I sent warriors down to help Xander train the influx of new warriors to protect the lake. So far, they have been lucky. But we can't take any chances with the lake. Dad and Mom have been on conference calls continually, making sure our people are holding tight and are unified. We are doing what we can to make sure the humans don't suffer unduly. Pog only has one agenda: to end supernaturals, with no concern to his own people. Adriana ran over to me with Avery. "Babe, watch." She sets him on his feet, and he toddles a couple steps, then plops on his butt. She claps and picks him up, kizing him. "That's Daddy's big boy. Aren't you squishy cheeks?" I laughed. She's such a good mom. Lincoln is sparring with Eric. I watch as Eric takes our cousin to school, literally beating his ass in every discipline. And Lincoln is hating every second of it. Blake walks over and says, "Pretty sad when a beta beats an alpha's ass." I laughed and said, "He is a product of a spoiled, selfish witch of a woman after all." He seems to have inherited several of her characteristics. Mom is so disappointed in them. Uncle Caleb can't stand them. And Nicholas told me he doubts he will remain as beta of Sacred Moon once this is all over. Blake groans, "Damn. Makes you get all up in the feels for poor Anderson. I mean, what did he ever do to have such bad luck with that kind of family?" I laughed. "Dude, he rejected his true mate. Apparently, that's what happens." Adriana came back. The baby had to go down for his nap. "What's the topic of the day?" Blake grins. "Lincoln. And his poor, pitiful ass getting handed to him again and again." She turned and watched a few minutes, then said, "Holy shit, dude sucks." Blake busted out laughing. Just as we heard, "You stupid fuck, you broke my nose." Eric was doubled over in laughter. I walked over and told Lincoln to go home. Adriana hadn't stopped laughing. Blake was trying to shush her, but it didn't help when Eric went over and high-fived her. Later at dinner, Mom was feeding Avery, and we were all discussing the ground strikes and how it is coming to be time to put a stop to them before anyone could stop her. Amelia walked straight to my brother and hit him in the head with a metal water pitcher, splitting his forehead open as she screamed, "You piece of shit, do not ever lay a hand on my son again." I hadn't even blinked, and my mate was dragging Amelia out the door. Allison screaming at Mom that she couldn't let her sorry excuse of a daughter-in-law hurt her sister, while Anderson sat, quietly enjoying dinner. Caleb and Naomi were laughing, and my dad just leaned over and handed Avery a piece of banana. I followed my mate, as did Blake and Adrian, and I heard, "You dare lay a hand slap on the Prince of the Realm? Slap, it's past time someone teaches you some fucking manners, bitch, slap, and I am just the person to do it." And she proceeded to beat the shit out of her. When she was satisfied her physical point was made, she leaned over Amelia and quietly said, "All your pathetic life, all you have ever done is run people down, and all you succeeded by doing that, you lost everything. You lost your sister, your twin, the one person who was supposed to be by your side your whole life. You lost your brother, the man who protected you and defended you in all your selfish endeavors. You lost the love of a good man, a man who sacrificed the happiness that should have been his with his true mate, whom he threw away for your pitiful ass. You lost the love of your father, You lost any respect anyone might have had for you. You lost your true mate. In your selfishness, you lost sight of what is truly important. The only two people that can even stand your stupid ass are just like you. Your mother molded you into the disgusting, disgraceful waste of space you are. She made you over into her image, and then you in turn did the same thing to your own child. You make me sick. She turned and walked back inside and sat down, eating her dinner like nothing happened. Blake asked, "Feel better?" She smiled and said, "Much, thank you." Amelia came in, not looking at any of us, and sat beside Anderson. Lincoln sat glaring at Adriana until she said, "Keep staring, you little bitch. I got no problem dragging your ass out to the woodshed and giving you the what for, too." Mom laughed, really laughed, and said, "She always means what she says, Link. My girl don't play." Dad nods and says, "She held back on your mother? By a lot, else she'd be dead." Naomi giggled and said, "Facts, right there." Adriana looked up and said, "I would like to apologize. My temper seldom gets away from me. When that Shedman attacked my little brother, I saw red. I am sorry if I interrupted anyone's meal." Anderson said, "Didn't bother my meal at all. It's not often I get to enjoy dinner and a show." Everyone laughed their asses off. All but 3 people, that is,
Chapter 9. Flattery will get you everywhere. Adriana's POV.
Mom and I are sitting on the lanai, watching Avery trying to catch Braxton's tail. It's an every afternoon thing now, and his favorite thing to do. Connie walked over and sat down. She smiled at us. Pog is addressing the nation in an hour. King Draco wants us all in the conference room. I nodded, then asked, "You're 2 in school?" She nodded and laughed. "It's amazing. They are so thrilled to be going to school with supers. Maggie comes home every day, asking if she can be a supernatural. Mom said, it's not impossible, but it's seldom done. Most humans don't have the mindset for it. But when it's a child, the adjustment is easier. The only time it's been done is for health reasons." I was shocked. I didn't know it was done before. If the humans were aware of it, it could be a terrible thing. I said, "What is the process for that? I mean, is it painful?" When I was injected with other DNA, it hurt like I was dying. Mom shook her head. "I'm not really sure. It's a process. It's only been done a few times in the last 20 years. There are forms to fill out. The injury or illness must be terminal. They petition the king. He talks it over with his advisors. Then a decision is made. The person is brought to our hospital, and the process begins." Connie said, "Has it only been done with children?" Mom shook her head. 2 children. One young woman with ovarian cancer. Draco knows all the particulars. Evander walks over, handing Avery to me. He's sleeping. I told him about the president's address, then took Avery inside to lay him down. We all met in the conference room and got seated. Dad already had the television on. Evander asked, "What's the address about? Do we know? It would be great if he was calling a ceasefire." Dad shook his head. He's too invested at this point. To just stop the attacks would cause him to lose support. This late in the game, it would literally be political suicide. As the address was aired, I noticed Pog. I asked, "Is it me? Or does he look a little less put together than he usually does? I mean, there's something about his eyes. The way they're darting all around. Glassy. Wider than normal." Mom whispered, "Those are the eyes of a man obsessed. You're right, my love. He's too far gone to stop now. We have no choice but to take him down. We can't look to the humans to do it. They're too apathetic. Rely too heavily on others to solve their problems." Dave said, He's going to address the destruction of the Air Force Base, using that as an impetus for action. He will lie, and no one will refute it. He is obviously ruling by inciting fear. King Draco, you can count on me. Any help I can offer, it's yours. Dad nodded. Appreciate that, Lieutenant. Let's see what Pog has to say. I had already tuned out the noise in the room. I need to hear this. My baby is my sole focus in this fight, and I am worried about what kind of world he will be growing into. Pog started out with, "Fellow Americans, my heart is heavy tonight. The beasts have once again taken from us. An entire airbase has been destroyed. Trillions of dollars in damage. Untold loss of life. The pilot they had once shot down is missing. They must be stopped. They must be annihilated. At all costs. I am calling up the National Guard. I am calling all Americans to arm themselves. We are all in danger of extinction. If you see one, kill it. Even young ones are a threat. I am invoking a call to arms, citizens. Consider yourselves deputized. There will be no repercussions for killing any supers. They are not human. They are animals." We all sit stunned. Mom asked, "Will they, Draco? Will they listen to him?" This is becoming precarious. Dad said, "Our passive approach has ended. I'm afraid. Pog is forcing us into aggressive action. The time to fight is rapidly approaching. Connie, get me on air ASAP. He wants a call to arms. So be it. The hell he is unleashing is on his head." Evander said, "I am ordering patrol to double up. Dave, can you map military bases and National Guard deployments? I want the groups of our supers closest to them protected." He nodded. Then he said, "Pog will be on the move. His security will take him to a secured secret location. Probably Kansas. There is an underground bunker there, as large as a small city. Everyone believes Area 51 to be the most secure location we have. Not true. It's built into the side of Mount Sunflower. Goes deep into the mountain. Located between Colorado and Weskin. Nearly on the Colorado border. If it was me, I would prevent that from happening. Take the president's option away before he can get there." Dad said, "Dave, you're a genius. I say we eliminate the possibility of him holing up at either place. Adrian, get on that. I want Sunflower and Area 51 inaccessible for Pog. Today, order the werebears and werecougars to Sunflower. The wolves and elves can hit 51. Tell them to try not to kill, but to take no casualties of their own. Period." Mom said to me, "Sweet girl, contact your dad, in case we have to send our wounded to the lake. I want our people recovering as quickly as possible." I nodded and immediately called Daddy. He answered and said, "We watched the address, Sweetness, already gearing up and doubling guard. I knew the king would order it." I smiled. "My daddy, smartest man I know. The queen just wanted me to let you know. We are making a move on the president's secret facilities to prevent him hiding. When this shit goes south, he wants to subject the humans to certain death. He doesn't get to hide out until it's over." Daddy laughed. "Sounds about right. I have yet to meet a human leader brave enough to handle anything he orders the military to do." I agreed, then told him we just wanted him and Xander ready to handle any injuries our people sustained. We hung up, and I asked Evander if we should head to Luna Lake to lend a hand. Shaking his head, he told me, "We will wait and see if we're needed. Dad will call us." I smiled and asked, "Why are you so smart?" He laughed. "You're full of prunes, but flattery will get you everywhere."
Chapter 10. He just didn't care.
Bruno stood on a hill, observing military personnel and trucks, entering double steel doors dug into the mountainside. Well, not a true mountain, only rising 300 feet. but definitely a mountain by Kansas standards. He called King Draco, waiting for him to answer. When he did, Bruno spoke in code, 30 flitting by pilfered transport. Assuming internal alterations of procedures, will update when deed is done. What he told the king was he had 30 wares inside the facility by hitching rides on the supply trucks entering the compound. They would disable all security measures before the others would enter and destroy it. The same occurred with Area 51. The only reason it was possible is because no one expected King Draco to move so quickly. Pog was left only 2 options: Camp David and the bunkers there, or fleeing to another country. Draco doubted Canada would be an option, as they had always supported the supernatural world, actually used them for various reasons to aid their government. Within 3 hours, the word came down the pike. Area 51 and Sunflower were under control of the supers, and movement by the American military was on the move. National Guard from every state had mobilized. Dave came into the conference room, turn on the television. Pog is pissed. He's coming apart at the seams. This war is such a joke, and I have developed mad respect for your methods, King Draco. Draco laughed and said, "Call me Draco, Dave. I consider you a friend. I am grateful for everything you are helping us with." Dave shrugged. "I pride myself on my values, Draco. I always fight for right. What Pog is doing is as far away from right as humans can go." When the television tuned into Pog, he was literally screaming at the cameras, accusing the supers of massacring everyone at Sunflower and Area 51, telling the humans over 2,000 were dead, when in reality, not one person died. The 300 at Sunflower, the 1,000 at Area 51, were forced to walk to the nearest town. No injuries, other than maybe a few blistered feet. As everyone sat down to dinner, the alarms sounded. Blake ran in. Military breach, southern border, maybe 500 on foot. Evander ordered, "Ready your wolves, dragons, take to the air." Adriana and Aurora geared up, handing Avery to Connie. Adriana ordered, "All non-combatants to the bunkers. Lincoln, stay with your mother. Connie, you and Jacob need to go live. Report what's happening by watching the monitors." She ran and jumped on Braxton's back, and Aurora was on Asmodeus. Dave rode Bastion, Caleb's wolf, geared much the same as Adriana. Naomi's dragon, Avril, circled the air overhead. They lit out for the southern border, arriving within minutes to the sound of sniper fire and grenades exploding around the supers. Draco roared in anger, charging into the fray. As Adriana and Aurora reached the trees, climbing up and getting seated, Dave in a tree nearly directly across for the girls. Aurora was firing arrows from a crossbow, in deadly accuracy, taking down a soldier with every launch. Adriana was using a compound bow. Her arrows were equipped with bow mags, exploding on impact. She fired directly into groups of 5, maybe 10, dropping the groups with shrapnel. Evander and Caleb were taking down 2 soldiers at a time, wading into the center of the fracas, while Adrian ripped off limbs, tore out throats. Avril was breathing fire, raining down on troops like a flamethrower. Within 45 minutes, the battle was over. Around 200 human troops fled in retreat, while the rest lay dead or dying. The supers had lost about 20, with twice that many injured. Aurora noticed Anderson, lying on his side, gasping to breathe. She ran for him and turned him onto his back, a gaping hole in his chest. She cried out, and Draco was at her side in seconds. He examined the wound, shaking his head. Evander walked up, holding Dave in his arms. Draco examined Dave. He had an extensive wound to his stomach. Again, He shook his head. Adriana looked at them both. I can help Anderson. The lake doesn't heal humans. Evander shifted into Argon, and they secured Anderson to his back. Adriana climbed aboard and helped him securely. As Argon soared into the sky, Draco knelt beside Dave, speaking quietly. As a human, Dave, you will most certainly die. I can help, but only with your permission and request. Dave gasped out, I'm not ready to go. You can help me? How? Draco smiled. I would change you. You would have to agree to become wolf. Asmodeus venom is too volatile for a human. I can't turn you into dragon. Dave asked. You can do that? Why didn't we know? Aurora whispered. Because we have only done it a few times. It isn't common knowledge or practice. Only the king has the proper venom, so only he can do it. Dave said, Please? I am not only asking, I am begging. I need to see the end of this war. I want to help the supers, save the humans. Draco nodded. He told him, I am not going to lie. This is going to be painful. I have to administer 3 separate bites at 4-hour intervals. Dave tried to laugh, choking on his own blood, as painful as being gut shot. Draco nodded by 10 times. Dave shrugged. Do it, please. Save my life. I will happily give my life debt to you. Draco released his canines, piercing Dave's jugular, emitting Asmodeus venom into his bloodstream. As Dave screamed, he removed his teeth. Picking him up, he ran for the infirmary, with Aurora on his heels. He had ordered werewolf blood to be hung and ready. They needed to replace what Dave had lost from his wounds, and human blood would no longer be compatible. In the meantime, Argon had just landed at Luna Lake. Adriana dismounted and stripped to her underclothes. Evander was already naked. They rushed into the healing waters just as Xander joined them. The moon had barely crested the horizon as they began the process of saving Anderson's life. Back at Draconium, Anderson's parents and family were told he may not make it. Bridget was doing her best to hold it together, until Amelia said, he should have come with us to the bunkers like he was told. This wouldn't be an issue if he knew how to listen. Even Lincoln looked appalled. Bridget lost her shit. She throat-punched Amelia, then proceeded to beat the shit out of her, requiring both John and Chansey to pull her back. Chansey looked at his only remaining child and spoke, If our alpha survives this, I will beg him to reject you, as he should have done after Lincoln was born. I will do everything in my power to see you banished and declared rogue. And before Allison could open her mouth in protest, Chansey uttered, I, Chansey Griffin, former beta of Sacred Moon, reject you, Allison Meadows Griffin, as my mate now and forever. He walked away, not hearing if she accepted or not. He found he just didn't care.
Chapter 11. You know what I mean. Adriana's POV.
I have submerged Anderson 5 times. He is breathing better. The gaping chest wound is finally beginning to close. He will carry a scar from this wound. He had lost a lot of tissue. Daddy joined Xander and me to aid in getting Anderson conscious. The moon finally heard our pleas, shining her beam directly onto Anderson's wound. It always amazes me to watch a body heal by her grace. We are truly blessed by this precious gift. Evander brought Anderson oid of the water, kising me. He smiles. I had my concerns this time. I wasn't sure the goddess would come through. If I am honest, I worried Anderson had offended her too greatly by rejecting his true mate. I nodded and replied, it was a concern of mine. Now, I just think his wound was extensive. I also believe our goddess believes Anderson has atoned for his mistakes. After all, he's been made to suffer enough, having Amelia as his chosen. Evander laughed, but it wasn't funny. Amelia is a blight on this world. She hasn't learned anything and still treats everyone as if they are beneath her. I hugged and kissed my family, refusing to stay overnight. After the attack, I want to be home with our people. Not to mention, I still don't trust the pack members of Luna Lake. We arrived home to find Aurora and Caleb with Chansey. It seems Allison still wants him to suffer, so she refuses to accept the rejection. He is suffering in great pain. So is she. But that's how vindictive that bitch is. Even after being told she would die if she didn't. Her words were, "Good. At least, I will have accomplished one last thing. I get to kill that bastard." Evander and I went straight to Chansey's room. Mom stood in tears, Uncle Caleb holding her. Tears glistening as well. I thought we were too late. But I saw his chest rise as he tried to take in air. I walked to his bedside. I whispered, "Grandpa, Grandpa, I need you to listen." He gasped and hoarsely said, "You called me Grandpa," and smiled. I said, "Grandpa, I can help you through this. I can block the mate bond. I can't heal you. But you should be able to heal the bleeding in your own heart. Right now, your wolf is dormant from the pain, so your wolf can't heal the bleeding heart." He said, "Do it. I won't give that woman the satisfaction. I will go see her one last time. Let her know she won't succeed. That may provoke her enough to accept it." I started chanting to set the spell in place. Having witch DNA has come in handy. Possibly the humans did me a favor. Definitely in this case, at any rate. As soon as I felt the spell seat itself, Grandpa's heartbeat stabilized. His breathing increased and his color flooded back into his face. I grinned, always surprised when my spells actually work. Mom came over. Kissing me, she said, "You truly are goddess sent. I don't know what we ever did to deserve you, but I am forever grateful." Caleb spun me in a circle. He grinned. "You have given my sister and me something we thought was lost forever. Now we have a chance to rebuild our family." Evander kissed me and said, "Best thing that ever happened to me." I grinned. "Yeah, the day I basically told the council to go fuck themselves." He laughed. "Good times. I fell in love with you right then and there." Chansey was rousing, and he smiled. My chest is tight and slightly uncomfortable, but probably because it's healing. Salem is back. He's stretching out and healing me. "Oh, my granddaughter, I can't thank you enough." I grinned and said I was just glad it helped. We excused ourselves to see how Dave is doing. Walking in, we find him thrashing on the bed, groaning in pain. Dad told us, "I just delivered the second bite. It's working." The surgeon closed his wound, but werewolf healing is already kicking in. He is critical, but stable. I nodded and walked over to check his temperature. It was within the normal parameters of a werewolf, dangerously high for a human. I ordered a tepid bath for him and an alcohol rub. Once I was happy to see his temperature stabilizing, we went back to check on Chansey. He was sitting up in bed, laughing and catching up with Mom and Uncle Caleb. It was nice seeing them finally interacting as a family. I checked his heart, listening closely for bleeding, but while it could still be heard, it was nothing like the rushing of it being bled out. I asked how he was feeling. He smiled. "It isn't as painful as it was when I woke up. Breathing is a hell of a lot easier. I want to see Allison tonight." I nodded. "Let's head over there now. She's too sick to get out of bed. She was brought in a little bit ago." Evander ordered she at least be made comfortable. He nodded and grinned. "Let's do it then. I want to see her face. 47 years of my life with that viper. I haven't loved her for 21 of those." When I realized Amelia is who she is because of Allison. When I learned loving and trusting my mate had cost me my children. When it dawned on me I would be better off completely alone. We walked out of the room, down the hall. When she saw Chansey, standing straight and tall, Allison screamed, "Nu, you have to die too." He grinned and responded, "Sorry to disappoint you, Viper. You are the only one departing. Unless you accept the rejection, you will be dead by morning." I walked over to Evander, hugging him. "I know she's your biological grandmother, and no matter how badly she's hurt your family, it's still going to hurt." He shook his head. "That's just it. I feel nothing. It doesn't matter to me. She has hurt so many of us. She didn't care she destroyed an entire family, her own family at that, and it never mattered to her. So why would her death matter to me?" I looked over at her. She was trying to attack Chansey, who stood 3 feet away from her, laughing, repeating, "Accept it or die. I don't care which one you choose." After another 20 minutes, Allison screamed out her acceptance and fell into a coma. I checked her over, listening to her heart. I said, "If she makes it through the night, she stands a chance. She may have waited too long for the acceptance. Morning will tell the tale." Evander responded, "If she's waited too long, it is the goddess' will. She may not have forgiven her, like she did Anderson." Chansey asked, "Anderson? He's been forgiven? He's alive?" At our nods, he whispered, "Thank you, goddess, thank you. He is the only good thing this whole situation had. He's a good man, just weaker than he should be. A conniving woman manipulated him." Evander whispered, "Is it wrong to be grateful for that weakness? I'm really happy being Draco's son." I grinned. "He'll be relieved to hear that." He laughed and said, "You know what I mean."
Chapter 12. No One Lives. Evander's POV.
Adriana and I are running on just a few hours' sleep. We arranged the celebration of life for our fallen 20, got Chansey set up in the pack house, visited all our wounded, being checked over by their Luna, and helping where she could. We are with Dave now. It always feels like a lot, having to be so many places at once, but as Alpha and Luna, we have to be where we are needed most. Always. Dad leaned down, biting deeper than the previous 2 times. When he pulled out, he said, "When he shifts, Evander, you will need to submit his wolf immediately. He is going to be a strong wolf. Probably beta. Dave's a warrior, so it stands to reason." I nodded, realizing Dad and I are thinking alike again. I had thought the same thing. How long before he shifts? Adriana said, "His temperature is rising. It won't be long. Sadie is feeling his wolf." Dad's right. He's a strong one. She grinned at us. I had Braxton reach out. We felt him. He's close to the surface, so I step over close enough to coax the shift. I said, "Dave, your wolf wants out. Let him come forth. You're going to feel a rush of pressure racing to the front of your body. Go with it. Let your wolf push his way through." Dave closed his eyes and took my hand. His wolf was right there, shining through Dave's eyes. His eyes opened wide, and he clenched my hand. As soon as the first bone samped, I told him, "Go with it. If you fight it, it will hurt. It gets easier every time. Let him out, Dave." Within minutes, a large gray wolf stood where Dave had lain. I spoke to the wolf. "Your name, wolf?" he snarled, Abel, trying to battle my authority, and frustrated because he can't. I growled, "Submit, Abel. Pledge to me, Evander Arconium, as your alpha." He snarled and growled a couple more times, and I released more of my aura. Finally, he knuckled down and bowed. I coaxed Dave back to the surface, and when he was back, He was all grins and healed completely. He said, "I have never felt better in my life. I wish I could have done this years ago." We laughed, then told him the celebration of life is in 2 hours. Attendance necessary. We excused ourselves. Adriana went to check on our injured again. Dad and I headed to the conference room to strategize on our counterattack. Fort Richardson is our target. We had vowed not to initiate any killing. This attack changed that. We are wolves first. We are dragons. Payback is our middle name. The humans deserve no more of our patience. They killed 20 of our own. Our beasts want vengeance. We got sat down. Eric tells us, "We have to move on Fort Richardson. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. They're gearing up for a massive incursion. We can't let them close to us again." I linked Adriana and Mom, letting them know we leave in 15 minutes. I could hear them both, running to gear up. I ordered Blake to load the rocket launchers. We are going balls to the wall this time. The humans are about to find the true meaning of fuck around and find out. Mom and Anna met us in the foyer and asked, "Flying the friendly skies?" I chuckled and nodded. In the clearing, we all stripped, handing our weapons and clothing to our riders. We shifted, and our riders mounted, taking off into the sky and heading south. We landed a little north of Fort Richardson. Blake setting his decoders to shut down the entire power grid. Seconds later, the entire base was scattering. Knowing an attack was imminent, we brought 2 witches with us, this time. They set shields of invisibility around us as we cut our way through the fence. The servicemen never saw us coming. Dad and I took out 4 guards, while our girls took out 1 each. We had just gotten past the guardhouse when our first barrage of rockets were fired. 6 buildings taken out at once. As they came running out, we leveled our axe and opened fire, just like they did on our people. Vengeance. We are satisfying our beasts. We fired until our clips were empty. Instead of replacing the clip, just then, we waded into the midst of them and mowed them down. Decapitation. Ripping throats out, tearing out hearts. Braxton and Asmodeus needed this. As Alpha and King, 20 pieces of our hearts were ripped out last night. 6 more rockets took out the remaining buildings. Everyone who survived fled the buildings, but we cut them down as well. We did a thorough search of the rubble. If we found a survivor, we killed them. They all had a hand in killing our pack members. No one lives.
Chapter 13, This Man's Mate. Adriana's POV.
We had gotten home in time for our celebration. We let our pack know our people had been avenged. The mood lightened a little after that. The last several weeks, we has been planning for the battle we know is coming. Mom had made wolfsbane and silver antidotes for all our wolves. Our dragons were all given the antidote against the dragon's sleep drug. Avery is toddling all over the place, getting into everything. Thank Goddess for our in-pack daycare. It gives Evander and I time to make plans. Anderson came to us yesterday, requesting our presence when he rejects Amelia. He decided not to banish her because someone is needed to provide full-time care for Allison, who survived the rejection, but had a stroke coming out of the coma, and who better than her doting daughter. We walked into the room, with Chansey and the rest of the family, Naomi pushing Allison's wheelchair. Lincoln stood up and stopped behind Allison's chair. He sneered, "Are you here to banish my mother now?" Anderson said, "No, son. I am not here to banish anyone. I am, however, here to reject your mother. She has manipulated me long enough. I have been belittled, talked down to, told I am useless, made to feel like I'm not enough. So Amelia Griffin, daughter of Beta Chansey Griffin, I, Alpha Anderson Kane, reject you as my chosen mate." She screamed and grabbed her neck. Unlike true mates, whose marks just scar over, Chosen's marks burn away. It's painful and designed to punish. I looked at Anderson, wondering what the fuck. And he said, I was not so stupid as to ever let that bitch mark me. For some reason, I found that funny. As I started laughing, Lincoln lunged for me, yelling, I'll show you funny, bitch. Evander pulled me behind him, lifting Lincoln by his throat. Ever call my wife out of her name again, I will rip your tongue out. Ever try to attack her again, cousin or not, I will kill you. He threw him across the room. Anderson said, Amelia Griffin, I alpha command you to never leave this pack. It is your sole responsibility to look after and take care of your mother until her dying day. There will be random checks by social services to make sure she is being properly cared for. Oh, snap. That was unexpected. Knowing full well that would be exactly what she would do. Abuse her own mother in her frustration. He commanded her to not ever do that. Nice, Evander. And I were back in the conference center after dinner. Other species had been joining us, preparing for the big battle. Pog is threatening one major battle to end us all. But he has asked to speak to an ambassador of our species. Mom agreed, being the attorney for the kingdom. We had emailed our conditions. She would be accompanied by no less than 10 guards. The meeting was to be out in the open. Pog allowed the same amount of secret service. Our people would scout around the meeting place all night before, so Pog couldn't plant snipers. What Pog didn't know was she would be broadcasting the entire meeting live, or that I will be perched my fairy ass right above them. In the tree Aurora would sit under, we had leaders from every species, including the high priestess of all covens, the elf emperor, the fairy queen, clam leader of the bears, clouder leader of cougars, prowl leader of the jaguars. We now numbered over 10,000 warriors strong. Our battle equipment rivaled anything the humans could use against us. We had been preparing since that first airstrike. Knowing their military's methodology of warfare, they seldom deviate and stick to what they know. Their strategists have no imagination, and apparently no box to think outside of. Evander pulled out a map, pointing to where Mom would be meeting the president. We chose a busy city to lull Pog into a false sense of security. Evander said, Adriana will be here. In this tree, I will be on top of this building. Dad over there, we will have eyes on you at all times. The guards will have eyes on the president's security. If they notice anything suspicious, we will take them out. Mom nodded and said, I'm not worried. I do, however, expect him to pull something. That is why I want it airing live. If the humans see what he's become, maybe they will stop following him. I said, we have provided proof repeatedly. Still they follow him. It's like he has them all brainwashed. Only 3 have completely committed to us. No more. And one of those is now a super, so he doesn't count now. Dave growled, Hey, damn, Luna, hurtful, making me laugh. He's a goof, and certainly a major asset now. Dad said, Dave, I want you sat upon this knoll. You can see all the way down the hill. It gives you a vantage point for your sniper skills. You can cover the queen from that angle. I looked at everyone and told them, now we just wait for a confirmation email. Then it's a go. Until then, I want all of us practicing marksmanship 2 hours a day. Evander agreed, saying, it's important to hone our skills. We may need to take out more than 10 men on his security detail. Pog isn't above an ambush. We will need to stay alert. We had called it a night, and everyone went their separate ways. Evander and I made love. For the first time as days, I've missed our private time, and it's getting few and far betweens. We have a lot of time to make up. Once we get this situation under control, Evander held me all night, making me feel safe and protected. I needed that more than anything else. I love that we can fight side by side with complete trust in one another. But nights like this makes me realize and reassures me I don't always have to be strong. I can just be this man's mate.
Chapter 14. Everyone comes home.
The email had come in 4 days ago. Today is the day the meeting is to take place. Pog negotiated for 20 security personnel, but Draco was having none of that. Aurora was wearing a lightweight titanium Kevlar body armor under her heavy winter coat. The witches have an invisible body shield around her. If the humans were capable, they'd recognize the shimmer and the glamour surrounding them. But luckily, the elves and fairies can't be seen by anyone but other supers. It appears to the naked eye that Aurora only has her 10 guards, which isn't excessive for a queen. Adriana is wearing the same body armor, but she is unseen, high above Aurora's head. Dave is in position and thoroughly camouflaged by the witches. Draco and Evander are on the rooftops agreed upon, each armed with hunting rifles and scopes. 200 elves and fairies are fanned out around the entire park. No one is sneaking in, or even capable of getting into position for an attack. Pog entered the park, surrounded by security, like he owned the world. He sat directly across from Aurora. She smiled and addressed him. He sneered, "Queen Aurora." She stayed smiling, even though her instinct was to slap the sneer off his face. She said, "You asked for this meeting. The supernatural realm would like to see an end to this conflict as quickly and safely as possible." Pog nastily said, "Of course you would. I have here a document you can read, then sign, and all this goes away. No more supernaturals have to die. You don't have to murder any more humans." She held her smile in place as she took the file. Reading it over, she started to laugh. "You can't possibly be serious. We didn't start this fool's errand. You attacked us, without provocation, and without us retaliating. We refused to retaliate, for 27 attacks. Then you killed some of us. We destroyed Eielson Air Force Base. Yet, we still killed no one. Then the army ambushed us, killing 20 of our people. We destroyed that base, killing everyone in it. You forced us to retaliate." Pog spat out, "Killing 1,000 servicemen. And humans are supposed to accept this?" She laughed. "We killed under 400 first of all. I fear your calculations are off. Perhaps your calculator is broken. Second of all, unconditional surrender? Never going to happen? Agree to government-sanctioned reservations for segregated species? Absolutely no chance that will happen. Tell me, Mr. President, where do the humans benefit in this?" He chuckled. "The human population are the least of my concerns. I wouldn't care if you killed them all. This new treaty I have proposed allows my administration the control it needs to stop you filth from running amok." Again, Aurora laughed. "Amok. I am not entirely certain I know where amok is, nor why we would run it. The only filth at this table is you. My revisions to this treaty are as follows. The American government, specifically your administration, resign from office. We will renegotiate a similar treaty to our previous one with the new administration. There will be no talk of confiscating our territories and placing us in what are essentially concentration camps. But we may be the original Native Americans, but you will not treat us like the ones you forced onto small tracts of land, with no way to provide for their people." He growled, "Unacceptable." She responded, "I agree. This proposal is preposterous. You know it, and you know I know you know it is. My heart goes out to the humans you have sacrificed so far, and all the ones you are still willing to sacrifice. If I were human, I would be organizing a lynch mob to string you up." He laughed. Then you place much more confidence and intelligence in them than I do. They are sheeple, and they need the big dog to herd them in. Aurora said, You think too highly of yourself. We will not sign this ridiculous proposal, nor will we ever surrender. He slammed his fists on the table, and Adriana knocked her first arrow. He said, Then you choose war. I will unleash hell on you. Let this be on your head. Aurora shook her head. No, this is on you. Only you. Always you. Hell is perceptive, Pog, and your perception is skewed. He stood and said, So be it. He turned to leave, and 2 of his guards led him away. He reached his vehicle, and as he pulled away, 8 vehicles rolled in. Secret Service pouring out, opening fire on Aurora. Adriana, Dave, Draco, and Evander all opened fire as the fairies and elves summoned the earth. Tree roots, branches, and vines tied the enemy to the ground. The supers killed them all. It was self-defense, but it was also televised. Public opinion will either be for the war or against it now. Aurora prayed it was the latter. The ambush they expected played out on every channel, in every home in the country. Returning home, Evander doubled security and patrol, even putting dragons in the sky at 2-hour intervals. He would take no chances at ambush in his pack again. Pog's troops will find it very difficult to break the line again. The morning proved fruitful. Humans were heading south, away from where the fighting would take place. At least, some have seen the light and are seeking refuge. Human media has gone radio silenced as of yesterday, so we know Pog is gearing up for his end play. That is fine. The supers are doing the same. It's a shame, really. So many will die. Adriana and Evander addressed all of the supernaturals, telling them their military will only consist of volunteers. No one is being asked to fight. Putting their lives on the line is something only they can decide to do. Adriana told them, We will not think less of you if you seek safety. We will protect and defend you, no matter your choice. Not one person moved. They stood tall and strong. More importantly, they stood resolute and determined. A man stepped forward and said, We fight together, we die together. Evander smiled. We fight together, but no one will be dying. Not on our side anyway. We will prevail. The time when there would be no turning back is approaching. Draco stepped forward. We will fight, because we are being left with no choice. We will fight for our way of life. We will fight for our right to exist. No one left behind. Everyone comes home.
Chapter 15. Receptionist Voices. Adriana's POV.
Anderson seems happier, more settled. Amelia was still being Amelia. She was always angry, bitter. Allison wasn't improving, which only fueled Amelia's fire. Mom and Uncle Caleb had forgiven Grandpa, and they are building a familial bond. For the first time in a quarter century, Blake and I are sparring. Eric pointing out what we're doing wrong, which is amusing. He knows I can kick his ass, but I let him think he's being helpful. Men's egos are fragile. Evander comes in with Avery. His first word was mama, and now he says it. Over and over in a chant. He says mama, and Evander tells him, say Dada. I giggle and take my little monster to jump on the trampoline with him. Evander lowly says, we have had word of a massive movement. Military personnel, equipment and weapons. The moved out of Washington, heading west. Dad is monitoring everything, and we will have to make a decision soon. Whether we will attack before they set up bivouacs, or let them get situated to see if there will be negotiations. Grimacing, I ask, this has never been about Pog's fear of us. He is obsessed. Oh, take the baby. I need Blake and Adrian. Something just occurred to me. I have to take a look at Dr. Tomlin's files again. He was running after me. What, baby? Talk to me. What did you remember? Shaking my head. I overheard something when I was in captivity. At least, I believe I did. I'm not sure if it's a latent memory. That's why I need to reread Tomlin's files. He nodded like he understood that word vomit I just spewed. I love that man. Blake and Adrian met me in the conference room, and I told them what I think I remembered. We immediately started searching. Thank goddess Adrian had transferred all the information we had confiscated onto our computers. Into our second hour, Blake said, "Holy fuck me, Chuck. You're right, Luna. Tomlin wasn't just experimenting on supernaturals. He was under presidential orders to do the same to human military personnel. They were trying to alter human DNA to give them our gifts and powers. He murdered over 1,000 humans in his efforts." Adrian said, every time Tomlin submitted his failed attempts, he was ordered to try again. He reported solely to Pog, working directly with him. Tomlin injected a species' DNA into the soldier's bloodstream. If he was lucky enough to survive, another species was introduced. None of them ever survived a second injection. I remembered I had been out of it several days. It was after the elves' DNA. That was a rough one, so I faded in and out. I remember hearing Tomlin speaking with another man outside my cell. He was telling this guy he didn't know how I was still alive. I was the only test subject to make it that far. I took a deep breath, trying to recall what I had heard, when my beautiful Sadie fed the memories to the forefront of my brain. I took a deep breath. The man Tomlin was talking to told him since I was stronger than the rest. Only use my DNA to inject the human subjects. That man was Pog, Blake said. Here, a list of all the test subjects. When they were injected, what their symptoms were, when they died. We need to get this to Draco and Evander. I linked Evander to bring his dad and meet with us. Adrian was printing the information, so we would have hard copies. When Dad and Evander arrived and sat down, I began telling them what Pog had done. Dad said, "We need to know what those families were told about their sons, husbands, brothers. Where are they? Did they bury them? Were autopsies done? Death certificates? Keep digging, Adrian. We are going to set up a press conference for 2 hours. I need enough ammunition to shoot Pog down without ever going into battle." Evander said Blake set up several Watts lines. The families of these men are going to be calling. They will want closure. Hopefully, we can provide that. As soon as the press conference was set up, Blake hacking into the networks. Draco's face filled the screen. "I come to you today with sad but eye-opening news. My daughter-in-law has been recovering lost memories of her time in captivity in the human laboratory. Her latest memory revealed that not only were supernaturals being experimented on, but human military personnel were, as well. We have found, among the data we have confiscated from the research facilities, that over 1,000 men and women, serving in the military over the past 8 years, were murdered by injecting supernatural DNA into their bloodstream. Dr. Tomlin killed your human servicemen and women under the direct supervision of your own human president, Pog. Across the bottom of the screen, you will see 3 separate phone numbers. We have listed the names of the people lost on our website. We would love if the families of the fallen could contact us. We would love to hear your stories. There is also a questionnaire we would appreciate you filling out. Again, as always, I appreciate your taking the time to listen to me." I grinned. Man the phones, boys. I am going to monitor the website for completed questionnaires. Adrian, where are we on death certificates? He shook his head. I am tracking down what bases these people were from. Their commanding officers have a lot to answer for as well. No death certificates are popping up. I responded, that makes no sense. They would have had to provide proof of death to their families. Did they falsify a death certificate and not file it? They couldn't have permitted an autopsy. Their secrets would have been revealed. So the results of an autopsy would have to be falsified as well. Evander said, that makes sense. If we can prove this, we stand a good chance of public opinion changing. Humans will turn on Pog. We may not have to kill any more humans, even though trusting them will be difficult in the future. Mom said, I will build a case against the president, demanding immediate impeachment. Congress has been relatively silent during this entire fiasco. I think they have a lot to answer for as well. I replied, ready lawsuits against the entire Pog administration, all the Joint Chiefs, his cabinet, the director of the CIA. If we flood the courts, action will have to be taken. A war fought on paper is no less a war, just fewer casualties. The phone started ringing, and I grinned. Use your best secretarial skills, fellas. Receptionist voices.
Chapter 16. Please, don't cancel. Evander's POV.
We are on the 5th day of identifying and locating the families of the dead test humans. Everyone we have spoken to have sent falsified death certificates, claiming death by a supernatural attack or training accidents. We have yet to locate even a false autopsy report on any one of the 1,003 deaths. Mom is waiting until we have located all the families to file a class action suit for wrongful death against President Pog and the federal government. She wants to be able to file criminal charges the same time as the civil suit hits the docket. The media will have a field day, Connie and Jacob having the exclusives, and all the inside intel. A mind link from a southern border guard came through Alpha. You are needed at the border. Now, we have an issue. Adriana and I shifted and ran for the border. Arriving, we shifted back and dressed. Standing outside our fences were hundreds of servicemen and women. A captain stepped forward and asked, Alpha Arconium? I nodded, letting him know to call me Evander. He said, we are requesting asylum. Technically, we are all deserters and AWOL from our bases. So, I need you to be aware. We are all fugitives. I laughed. Technically, we are on the outside of your president's laws as well. If I grant sanctuary, what do you bring to the table? He said, I am Captain Simon Spellman of 5th Infantry Division. 200 of these men are mine. The other 300 are from other bases, other platoons. I am highest ranked, so they are, more or less, following my lead. We have highly skilled marksmen, demolition experts, and all of us are trained in hand-to-hand combat. We are offering our services to you. We will gladly fight by your side, should this come to open warfare. We can no longer follow such a corrupt regime. Pog is no longer our president. Adriana said, where are you all coming from? Were you called up to the base camp being constructed outside of Anchorage? Simon nodded. Many more have deserted, although we are not aware of where they've gone, hopefully to other packs to request asylum. When the newscast was being aired, Pog demanded all televisions and monitors destroyed. We streamed it later, on our phones and tablets. We lost brothers and sisters in those labs. We want answers, and we know we will never get them from Pog. My mate said, be forewarned. You will not like what you hear. Pog has authorized heinous acts against humans. In Hitler-esque fashion, he was trying to create a superior race. He believes supernatural beings are solely driven by bloodlust, incapable of the conscious thought and intellect of a human. He couldn't be more wrong. Our intelligence is on par, some exceeding human IQ. I said, your asylum is granted. With the provisions, you do not betray us, and you fight to defend and protect, should we be attacked again. Captain Spellman said, agreed, and shook my hand. We walked with them back to the pack house, where Mom and Dad greeted them, and Blake took them to where they would bivouac. Dad asked the captain to join him. He told him to record everything he was being told. He would play it for his men, so that they all may know what has happened right under their noses. Dave walked in the conference room, and Simon jumped up and hugged him. Dave, I thought you were dead. We were told you perished in a raid on Arconium. I looked at Dad, shrugging. Dave laughed. Once again. The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Draco Evander. Simon is my cousin. He and my brother went army. I stuck to Air Force, like my dad. Simon grinned. Ben is here. My God, dude. It is great to see you. Dave laughed again. My little brother is here. I gotta go, guys. Meet up at training in an hour, yeah. I laughed and told him, of course. Simon turned and asked, How long has Dave been with you? I responded, Since we destroyed Ilson. He chose to come with us. We had rescued him from his downed F-16 and allowed him a vehicle to return. He decided to join us after the airstrike that killed some of my pack. Simon nodded. He's always been smarter than the rest of us. He would always choose the side of right. If you'll excuse me, Alpha, King, I need to inform my men of what you've divulged. Is it possible to go to the website and check the list of our fallen? I think some of us may know a few. I said, absolutely, handing him a card with all our contact information on it, including the website. As he walked out, Dad said, That was a huge surprise, a pleasant one, but surprising. I would love to be a fly on the wall in Pog's quarters. I laughed. I visualize his entire one-man war falling apart. Dad nodded and said, Let's go find our women. I'm in the mood for cuddles. I groaned. You would, Dad? Why must you be such an oversharer? He laughed. Oh, grow up. How do you think you got here? And what? Avery is a product of divine intervention? Damn, son. Adriana and Mom were sparring, and I noticed my beautiful mate was taking extra care to protect her tummy. I mind-linked her baby? Is there something we should talk about? She grinned, her whole face lightening. Yes, now that you've spoiled the surprise. I guess I can cancel the romantic dinner I had planned for tonight. I ran over to her and scooped her up. Spinning in circles, Nuu, don't do that. Please, some alone time with you. A whole evening of just us two. Please, don't cancel.
Chapter 17. It's refreshing as hell.
Simon walked into the provision cave. Looking around, holy fuck, this is nice. It's literally like an upscale hotel. Wouldn't mind all bivouacs to be like this. Damn, I could live here. Dave walked up to him, grinning. Yep, this king don't play. He's a good man, Simon. He cares about all the supernaturals, but he cares equally about the humans. Everything the POG administration spouted about them in the negative, and I do mean everything, is lies. I owe these people my life. Literally, I was critically injured in the raid by Fort Richardson. I nearly died. They went above and beyond to save my life. Draco goes above and beyond for all of us. Ben said, Well, I can't wait to meet this saint. Dave smacked him in the back of the head. You're young, boy. Don't allow that youth and immaturity get your ass beat. I won't let you disrespect these people. Simon yelled. Listen up. I am about to air my meeting with King Draco. Watch the television and listen carefully. You are going to witness things that are not easy to hear. After they had watched the recording, they all sat quietly several minutes. Then, collectively, a wave of anger rolled through the men. A sergeant said, I am ashamed. our own government. Our leaders are mass murderers, all because of the avarice of a maniac. Is that woman they did all that to hear? Dave nodded, telling them, she is the Luna of this great pack. She is also the woman you spoke with at the borders. You will love her. The things she is capable of are amazing. Adrena is probably one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. A guy spoke up and asked, why do you call them people? Aren't they like an alien race or something? I mean, they aren't human. Dave growled as Abel made himself known. Am I human? What about me sets me apart from you? The man sputtered, nothing. We know you're human. Some of us served with you. Dave nodded. You're right. I am human. But I am so much more. He stripped his clothes off and shifted into Abel right in front of them, then shifted back and dressed. Ben squealed like a girl. So fucking cool. Does he talk to you? Does he have a name? Does it hurt? Holy fuck, my brother is a wolf. Dave laughed. The first time hurt like a motherfucker. Now it just tingles a little bit. It was the only way to save my life. Only the king can do it. And he only does it to save lives. So don't ask. I had to consent and ask to be blessed. And my God, the process is excruciating. My wolf's name is Abel, and he's rolling around in my head, laughing at the shocked faces. Simon said, what about all those people Pog killed? Why didn't it work? Why did they die? Dave told them Pog injected DNA from different species. It isn't compatible with human DNA. The king is the only one who possesses the venom capable of changing someone. It is a 12-hour process of forcing his venom into your bloodstream. It burns so bad you feel like you're frying from the inside out. Your body burns with temperatures exceeding 108 degrees. Once Evander ascends to the throne, then he will be able to change people. They can't make you a dragon, though. That venom is too powerful. Simon said, you said he did it to save your life? What were your injuries, cousin? Dave shrugged. I was gutshot. My liver shattered. My spleen ripped in two. One kidney destroyed. I was dying. And we all knew it. Draco told me how I could survive, and told me what I had to do before he could start the process. I jumped on it. I wasn't ready to die. Not until Pog answers for everything he's done anyway. Dave walked them down to the training center. Adriana was sparring with Evander. They noticed he didn't really try to land a blow. Mostly he used wrestling moves to tie her up, trapping her legs or arms. She spun out of every hold, using her little spider monkey body to propel herself into the air and landing on his shoulders. Yanking herself backwards, they both fell as she locked her legs around his throat. He tapped out. Ben said, that girl is crazy. Her moves are off the chain. Dave chuckled. You have no idea. She is deadly in everything she does. In combat, she takes down 10 to our 1. She's the one the humans held for so long. The things they did to her, a lesser being would have given up. Every single knee of the soldiers dropped to their knee in front of Adriana as she left the ring. She stopped, looked at Evander with a question in her eyes. He shrugged, and she looked back at the men. Simon said, we pledge our dedication and devotion to you, future Queen Luna Adriana Arconium. We swear to protect you and your pack, to defend your safety and your sovereignty. She looked at everyone, with tears rolling down her face. She responded, I am deeply touched and honored. Please know the feeling is reciprocated. I pledge to honor, defend, and protect you as members of our pack. Evander said, gentlemen, my wife speaks for us all. You protect our queen. The pack protects you. Thank you all. Now, you are welcome to watch or train with the pack. However, I have another option, if you'd like to utilize it before dinner. We have set up 6 dedicated, secure phone lines for you to contact your families and let them know you are safe. You may also invite them to join you here if you so wish. Just let me know before you tell them where to go. We have an extraction plan for that. A man in the back started laughing. Holy shit. You guys think of everything. It's refreshing as hell.
Chapter 18. Heads will roll. Adriana's POV.
It's been nearly a week since the soldiers arrived. Mom had a meeting in Washington with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Living her best go big or go home life, I am going with her. To be in chambers with her. Chief Justice Warren refused men because apparently he's afraid of them. That's fine. With Dad and Evander watching the door, we know we will be safe. But this Chief Justice doesn't know dangerous. He should probably be afraid of me. We brought 4 men with us, and 16 spread out, making sure there won't be another ambush. We walked into Warren's chambers. The 4 of us had 2 boxes each. Warren blustered, "You can't bring all that in here." Mom said, "Not only can I bring it in here, I can sit here while every bit of evidence is logged in, signed off on, and a copy of the entire amount. And description log is in my hands. You'll understand that we have little to no trust in your government at the moment." Warren told her, "I can assure you, we are taking this situation very seriously. If Pog is found guilty, he will face not only impeachment, but many years in prison." Once the evidence was logged, Aurora served him the petition to bind Pog over for trial for the torture and death of 1,003 military personnel. Then she served the petition for class action lawsuits for wrongful death by their families. Warren told us they would email her the date the grand jury would convene to decide whether to indict or not. Mom stood up and said, "We are doing everything we can possibly do to avoid war. We could have already ended it, but a lot of people will have died. We won't hold back much longer. Supernaturals will retaliate. Unless you get Pog behind bars and stop this bullshit." We walked out, noticing we are being followed. I pulled my weapon, stayed at Evander's back, walking as he walked. We finally made it to our vehicles and headed back to the pack we left our plane in. We arrived back home at dinner time. Evander and I were walking in, and something flew past me and landed in Connie's hair. Pulling it out, it was an apple wedge. She said, "Blackie," he mumbled. "I'm sorry. I was throwing it at Luna." I laughed. "Me? Could have fooled me. You missed me by 5 feet. Dude, your aim sucks. You couldn't hit water if you fell out the boat, bro. Thank goddess you can fire a rifle." Just then, Avery threw an apple wedge and hit Blake in the eye. Everyone laughed and said, "Young Alpha has better aim." Even Blake laughed. I sat by Evander and said, "Those 2 are going to be trouble. Avery is already picking up bad habits." He chuckled. "Wait until the next one is running around. We have the ultrasound in the morning, too." I asked, "What are you hoping for, girl or boy?" He shrugged and told me, "A healthy little one. A girl would be nice, though. A daddy's girl. I could get used to that." I smiled. He is such a good dad. I was exhausted and went to bed early, while the men went to the office to go over the latest intel on the camp. The hunters had now joined them, so there was still, easily, 1,000 troops. Not nearly enough to defeat us, but we don't want to take a chance losing any more of our pack. The morning brought news of several packs being attacked overnight. Evander and I rushed through our morning routine and headed to the doc's office. The ultrasound revealed the baby was developing perfectly, and Evander was granted his wish. He was getting his little princess. We're having a little girl in a couple months. We went straight to the conference room to see what was happening with our allies. Dad was speaking. 5 packs were attacked last night. Our oldest allies lost 5 members. Blood Moon has asked for help. We need to decide how to divide our resources to the packs who need help, without diminishing our own security. Blake said, Luna Lake was hit last night, Adriana. They had over 20 injured. Only 2 so badly the lake couldn't heal them. I immediately asked about my family, Daddy and Xander being my only concern. Evander said, the werebears are heading out soon. They volunteered to offer support and backup to Luna Lake. It's time we started taking out these small cells. The random attacks are meant to separate us, isolate us. Knowing travel is precarious at best. Eric, email all packs. Tell them to hunker down and shelter in place. All schools are to be closed. No one off pack territory until this is resolved. Even if Pog is indicted, it doesn't mean the attacks will stop. Mom said, Pog is surrounding himself with like-minded individuals. Every one of them as zealous as he is to end supernaturals. Goddess knows we have done everything in our power to show we mean no one harm. Dad said, now though, now we have reached the point that we end the people who would see us annihilated. We have tried reasoning, logic, gone out of our way to offer protection. The amount of proof we have provided should have been sufficient. As much as I don't want to do it, I am now declaring open season on any human with a weapon. Adrian grins, Big Papa Dragon. Big mad now, I giggled. He's kinda scary, and I don't have to worry he's after me. Still scary. Evander told Blake, get dragons in the sky. I want to know where these scattered platoons are sheltering. They're striking in groups of 30 to 100. They can't be so hidden during the day we won't be able to locate them. Dad nodded. As soon as we start gaining intel, we move out in teams, no less than 40, and a mix of all supernaturals. I want a witch, a fairy, and elf. With every recon squad. We are going to be busy the next few weeks, ferreting out these cells and removing the threat. The hope of fighting this war on paper is gone. Our only recourse is action. Heads will roll.
Chapter 19. Don't Tease Me. Evander's POV.
Dad and I tried to talk our ladies into sitting these skirmishes out. I knew it was an exercise in futility, but at least our metal smith had made lightweight armor that protected our little Olivia. In my mind, I was already referring her to Livy, which earned me the occasional pop to the head. We are gearing up for our first hunting excursion. A report came in this morning of an encampment about 40 minutes north of us, indicating their target is a small pack of about 200 wolves. Under my protection. That's a whole bucket of nope. Dad and I went dragon. We are only bringing 8 more dragons with us. Avril refused to be left behind. We are riding 2 wolves to 8 of us. With 1 witch, 2 elves. I love the elves. They are proficient in hand-to-hand. While glamored, it's fun watching their opponents trying to figure out why they're being attacked by floating weapons. And 1 fairy, to help Adriana repair the earth. We landed directly in the middle of Yellow Star Pack. Dad immediately ordered all non-combatants into safe houses. This pack only had 60 warriors. We knew it would be an easy takedown for the soldiers. Not on my watch. Mom and Adriana got set up in the trees along the border. Dave and Simon set up opposite the girls. Dave is strong enough now. He's geared with a rocket launcher. Gonna slow these fukers down. We had just secured the doors on the bunkers when Adriana whistled her signal. Caleb and Adrian high-fived, grinning, it's showtime. I just shook my head and let Braxton have his head. We heard 2 explosions followed by the little pops of Anna's arrowheads hitting their targets, indicating she's still in the trees. Thank you, Goddess. I know how capable she is. It's not going to stop my worrying, though. As we approached the borders, I was shocked to see they have wolves fighting with them. I mind-linked every goddess-damned wolf on their side will not see the dawn. They are traitors, wolves. Let's plow the field. We charged en masse, striking every target in our path. I could hear arrows whizzing over my head, watching each one take out an enemy. The elves were decapitating soldiers right and left. Dad had grabbed a wolf, yanking him over his head. He literally ripped that wolf in two, then threw each half into the chests of 2 soldiers. That right there would have put the fear of the goddess in me. I would be looking for the fastest route to get the hell out of Dodge. I felt a bullet strike my shoulder and Braxton stumbled. Dad shifted into Asmodeus and ripped the man's arm off that shot me. I heard rapid fire all around me as I spotted Mom and Adriana emerging from the tree line, emptying their AK-47s in a steady staccato, almost in sync. Then I saw Adriana's head spin in the direction of one of the enemy wolves. She took off after him, and I panicked. She can't shift into Sadie. It could harm Livy. I yelled for Bastion to get to Anna. He took off across the field, and my sweet mate sprouted wings and soared above the wolf, kicking him in the head. As he stumbled, tree roots twisted and wrapped his entire body, slinging him to the ground, completely immobile. The fighting had ended, 20 or 30 enemies retreating, with well over 100 dead on the ground. My parents and I run to meet Adriana and Caleb. She recognized that wolf, or she wouldn't have been so focused to get to him. I walked straight to Adriana and pulled her into me. I whispered, "You scared me." She smiled, "This is going to hurt," and pulled the bullet from my shoulder. She said, "Have a little faith, baby. I would never do anything to harm one of our children." Dad asked, "Why this wolf, daughter?" She smirked. "Command the coward to shift, Dad. You'll see." Donna pushed forward and commanded, "Shift, wolf," and within seconds, the man lay naked before us. Because it's not possible to say no to the King of Dragons. Mom laughed. She said, "Good evening, Councilman Hicks. Bold of you to assume you would walk away from this unscathed." I snarled at him, more anger than I have ever felt. "You dare betray your kind? You endangered my mate, the future queen? Our entire realm will learn of your treason. Your execution will be witnessed live by all species." Adrian and Caleb yanked Hicks up, dragging him to the cells. He would wait there while we cleaned up. The pack were piling the humans, removing their dog tags. We will identify their next of kin, and Adriana and her witch friend, I think her name is Morgan, set the bodies ablaze. Once the flames had died out, the earth healed itself, while Adriana chanted, "I will never get used to the powers she can bring forth." It's amazing to see. She taught herself everything about her other spirits. They all mesh together and always lend their powers to each other seamlessly. Mom and Dad ask, "What are we doing about Hicks?" I looked at them. Then I sighed and pinched the bridge of my nose. "He will die? I don't know if you want to let the council know. I'm not. I withdrew my support of them, so they aren't my council. Hicks betrayed them, as much as he betrayed us. But he brought the humans into our territories. He endangered our people, and he attacked us. Nope. Dead man walking." Mom laughed and responded, "You really dislike that man, don't you?" Adriana was walking up and said, "He was working with the hunters when my dad was abducted. He refused to help. At all. Evander recused his position on the council, helped me instead." I grinned at her and told her, "Best decision I ever made." She laughed. "Stop. I'm hungry. So unless you're serving crackers with that cheese, don't tease me."
Chapter 20. We are all a family. Adriana's POV.
The past 2 weeks, the pack has been hunting camps with squads, even platoons of military, and taking them out, destroying their weapons, disabling their vehicles, and confiscating all pertinent data from their technology. I have been staying home, Olivia is due in a few days. I'm not as big this time as I was with Avery. Evander still calls me a penguin, so I guess I waddle. Mom and I are sitting with Grandpa, playing with Avery. He loves Chansey, and Avery has been good for him. Amelia pushes her mother over by her father. Chansey was quiet, then asked, "Please move that woman away from here." Amelia screeched, "Why, Dad?" "Oh, why? You caused this. You're the reason she's like this." I stood up and slapped her. "How dare you? This woman did this to herself. In her selfish desire to make your dad suffer. In her desperate need to see him dead. She refused to accept the rejection. She did it. And you're too stupid to even realize that could have been you. But Anderson never let you mark him to complete the bond. You got lucky." Amelia opened her mouth to respond, and Mom said, "Choose your words carefully, Amelia. One word of disrespect to my daughter, and the ass beating I've had waiting for you for a quarter of a century will be my gift to you." Amelia snarls, "You think you are so much better than me, don't you, Aurora? Everyone loves Aurora. She's smarter and prettier, kinder, more loving. You make me sick. Pathetic little poor me act always making people feel sorry for you. Well, you aren't better, and your daughter-in-law is as stupid as you are, having another little freak when we are in a war." Crack. Dad and Evander came running in, just as Mom slapped Amelia so hard she flew 5 feet. Following after her, she snatched her up and said, "I warned you. I have never thought I was better than you, dumbass. I have always just wanted to be your equal. But then, my intelligence surpassed yours. My maturity left your teenaged ass in the dirt. My kindness takes much less energy than always being hateful. I love with my whole heart. Until someone breaks it, then they are no longer a part of my life. But you fucking moron, I am not prettier than you. One last time, we are identical twins. We look the fucking same." All that was said, while Mom beat the shot out of her, punching her harder with every statement, knocking her out with the last sentence. I couldn't stop laughing, especially when Dad walked over and said, "No, baby, you are much prettier. Your pure soul paints you more beautiful than anyone I know." I choked out between laughs. Yep, that beautiful woman, with her pure soul, just beat the brakes off her ex-sister. Evander cracked up. "She ain't lying, Dad." Mom laughed and said to me, "Come join me. You can watch. I need a whiskey." I took her arm, still laughing, and said, "Well, you did warn her." She laughed with me. We made it to the conference room, and Caleb and Naomi asked what was so funny. I explained what had happened, and Naomi pouted, upset she missed it. Evander came in, with Dad and Adrian behind him. I asked, "Where's Blake? I haven't seen him all day." I was told he's training with a few elves. He's wanting to learn their moves. Dad sat down and pulled Mom into his lap, while Evander did the same with me. Dad said, "I'm not sure if you ladies want to be at Hick's execution tonight." I asked why, and Evander told us, "I am making a statement. His execution will be televised live to every Pack, Weir, Clowder, Clutch clan. You get the picture. I am going to yank his spine out his neck." I clapped my hands. "Can you teach me how to do that? I mean, I can decapitate a bear, but that spine thingy would come in handy." Caleb laughed and asked, "Damn, Aurora, are you sure she isn't your kid? She sounds just like you." Mom smiled and said, "My daughters are sweet. Hate anything to do with fighting. The goddess saw my need and sent me my mini-me." Evander laughed and responded, "Yep, Mom, that was exactly the goddess's plan. Not for me to find my mate. Couldn't be that. That would mean the goddess saw my need." Mom giggled and said, "Well, sure, when you put it like that." I cracked up. I love this family so much. making me realize I would see my daddy and brother in a few days. I dressed in a maxi dress in navy blue and braided my multicolored hair down my shoulder. I will sit with Blake and Uncle Caleb. Evander wants me away from the gore. I wanted to watch how he did it. I don't think I'm going to see it too often. Getting seated, I see Evander and his parents on the stage. I notice Cano reporting into the camera about the execution about to take place. Hicks was dragged out and up to stand beside Evander, who had latched into the back of his neck. I noticed Hicks stiffen up and stand nearly at attention, letting me know Argon's talons had pierced into Hicks' spine. Evander said, "Packmates, esteemed supernaturals, this man is a member of the Shifters Council. He betrayed us all. He sided with the humans. He aided the hunters in pack locations, clouder locations, enchantments, flutters, and covens. He fought alongside them, killing those of us that he could. I sentenced Charles Philip Hicks to death by execution." Then his hand closed into a fist around his spine and yanked up and back. He stood tall as Hicks crumbled to the ground. He held his spine up high. As the entire pack hooted and howled their approval, I realize humans will struggle with our sense of justice. The other supernaturals fully understand it. Our beasts can't tolerate disrespect or betrayal. We take our vengeance. That was impressive as hell. He is definitely teaching me that move. I wonder if you have to have dragon strength to rip out a spine. Evander walks over and says, "Pack wants a cookout and party to celebrate the demise of a traitor." I smiled and nodded. I thought that would be the case. Plus, our warriors have been fighting so hard the last 2 weeks, they need a relaxing night. I went and laid out steaks and burgers for the grill and asked the cooks to finish up the potato salad and put the baked beans in the oven at 325 for an hour. Our pack was enjoying a night off. We made sure to relieve our border patrol so they could eat. We needed this time to bond together and know we are all a family.
Chapter 21 Grow Up Doofus. The Vander's POV.
Olivia made her presence known exactly 5 hours and 21 minutes after we had climbed into bed for the night. She wailed her announcement of her birth to the world at the break of light in the horizon. The moon swelled and beamed her approval before she winked out of sight. I carried Adriana and the baby up and out of the lake to the infirmary. Our beautiful bundle of joy has the stark white hair of her mother, with an adorable single red streak at the right edge of her hairline. She has blue eyes with lavender starbursts. She carries witch and fairy DNA along with her wolf. Time will tell if she has a dragon. Avery has both his beasts, but we are not sure about the other 3 DNA affecting him yet. His hair is as dark as mine, and his eyes are green with the gold of his wolf. When his temper gets away from him, his dragon flames in his eyes. Mom and Dad arrived, and I knew I was going to have to fight them off to get time with my princess. Avery and Olivia are the only grandchildren so far. And Goddess, are they going to be spoiled? Dad told me, "Son, we got word Pog has surfaced. Supposed to address the nation at 8 tonight. I figure he's going to try and capitalize on Hicks' execution. And that's fine. We will still catch him and end this." I asked, "Any clue on where he's sequestered? The sooner we get him in custody, the better." Mom said, "The indictment was handed down by the grand jury this morning. The FBI raided his and Silas's offices as soon as it came down. I should have more information on discovery once his computers are broken into and decrypted." Adriana was just waking up from her nap, and she muttered, "I think Pog is underground. The 5 labs we destroyed and the 2 in the Gulf. I doubt they were the only ones. There's still groups of hunters, actively searching for lab rats to sell. That tells me they haven't stopped testing." She's right, and it makes total sense. He hasn't been seen, Silas hasn't been spotted. Staying in a bunker underground. Makes perfect sense. I mind-linked Blake to hack into the satellite system, checking for any type of bunker activity seen from the sky. We might get lucky with Pog's decrypted computer files. Doc came in. You are free to go home, but no strenuous activity for 2 weeks. Adriana smiled and said, I plan on being a couch potato and just cuddle with my 3 cuddle bugs. I laughed and said, Cuddles it is. Let's get you and our beautiful princess home. Adriana's eyes filled up with tears and whispered, She really is a princess. Why didn't that ever occur to me? I busted out laughing. Adriana took a nap with Olivia as soon as we got home. I went to TGE conference room and called Dave to meet me with Simon and Ben. I wanted to pick their military brain for any latent memories that might lead us to where Pog is hiding. I told them what I needed, and the 3 sat there thinking. Simon said, Wait, 8 months ago, I was part of a security detail to extract the president from a park in Floral City. His detail were to stay behind and defend an attack against Pog while we got him out of there. We drove him to an underground building. I assumed it was a bunker, but I remarked on the size of the building. I was told to mind my business. I asked him where it was. He grinned, almost impossible to find the entrance. Interstate 40 between North Carolina and Tennessee. A tunnel runs through Hurricane Mountain. Heading west, halfway through the tunnel is a right turn road. Turning on that road, the driver pressed a garage opener-like button, and bam, it opened to an underground tunnel leading downward. I gasped. No fucking wonder we couldn't see any suspicious traffic, any increase in traffic. Isn't there surveillance in the tunnel? I believe there is. If we can catch traffic going in and not exiting the other side, how frequently, what kind of vehicles, we will know Pog is there. We set up to watch the address after dinner. My maid in my lap. Avery snuggled into her, while Olivia napped in a bassinet beside us. This is my family. I am so grateful to have listened to my parents about your true mate. I wouldn't trade my life for anyone. The president came on the screen, looking more maniacal than ever before. He played Hicks' execution on a loop behind him, accusing our kind of brutal, senseless murder. Lawlessness is rampant. We didn't allow Hicks a fair trial. Therefore, we are all war criminals, which would seem plausible if we were ruled by human law. If we were even American citizens, we are citizens of the Dragon Kingdom. Dad said, Told ya. He's hoping to incite the humans to fight. It won't work, but he's desperate. If he has been checking email, he knows he's being indicted, along with Silas. This is his last-ditch effort before he launches a full-scale war. Caleb said, We will step up patrols, and we need someone monitoring that tunnel. 247. Anderson and Bruno have been training together. We need a mixture of bears and wolves running the perimeters of the kingdom. They should be able to put a team together. I asked, How is Anderson doing with the rejection and everything? Caleb grinned, Better than I have seen him in a very long time, actually. Lincoln, on the other hand, is a loose cannon. I know he is your cousin. Fuck, he's my nephew. But I don't trust him. Amelia raised him in her image. We may want to put a shadow on him. Adriana jumped up and said, On it. She kissed me and said, I will be back. Half hour tops. I have to chase an elf down, and you're on daddy duty. Blake snickered, Daddy duty. Adriana popped him in the back of the head. Grow up, doofus.
Chapter 22, Whoever They Are.
The tunnel was watched every day. The Supreme Court was moving forward with impeachment proceedings, and Aurora was working on the lawsuit for the families of the victims. The Attorney General would be prosecuting Pog, but none of the pack are happy about that. since he's the same man who charged Adriana with murder. He also came to the pack house with Hicks, so to them, he wasn't to be trusted either. This morning, a dozen trucks entered the tunnel, never exited, so now the monitoring will become extremely diligent. Eyes on all the time. They will know if and when the president makes his move. Draco walked into the conference room. Looking at Evander, Mom said she is getting evidence from the Attorney General, but a lot of it, a good majority of it, is redacted. So, to compensate for their lack of cooperation, she is only sending every other page of the 913 pages of evidence she has. I can't help it. I love that petty woman. Evander laughed. She's not petty. Ask her. She's justified. She has told me that since I could walk, like the time she glued Adrian's shoes to the floor on the back deck, he tracked in mud on her clean floor. Petty? Nope. Justified. Or when she took all the top buttons off your baseball caps and replaced them with pom-poms. Why? Because it was your favorite way to punish me. Pop me on the head with that button. That shit hurt, dude. So Mom took the hurt away. Petty? Not one bit. Justified. Everyone was laughing when Aurora walked in with Olivia and Adriana with Avery. She asked, "What's funny?" Draco coughed and said, "I was telling them about the discovery the Attorney General was getting from you." She nodded and growled, "Mother Fuker wants me to do all the work for him." Well, good fucking luck making sense of that garbled mess. I think 3 pages just had one period on it. One had the words, "incompetent frauds," referring to the doctors telling Pog the advances they were making and how well they were working out. But the Attorney General won't know that. Adriana said, "Isn't it a crime to withhold evidence?" Aurora laughed. "It certainly is in human court, and according to their laws, which in itself opens up a lawsuit against that useless Attorney General. I haven't violated our laws in the slightest." Everyone chuckled. Caleb stopped, looking at the computer screen. Trucks moving out of the tunnel, heading west, counted 8 so far. Adrian said, "We need to keep monitoring the tunnel. If they're on the move, they will do it in waves, so they aren't so glaringly conspicuous." Draco is shaking his head. "No, it doesn't make sense. They are aware of those cameras. We aren't any smarter than they are. They know we're watching. This is a blatant diversion. There has to be a separate entrance." Evander said, "That would make sense. If Pog is getting ready for the final push, the Secretary of Defense wouldn't let it be known. And Silas is with him. The inventor of covert." Adriana told everyone Pog is supposed to appear before the grand jury a week from tomorrow. So, he has to make his move before then. If he has trucks moving out, they will only be 2, maybe 3 at a time. The 8 right now is definitely a diversion. We need pause on the ground around Hurricane Mountain. Evander said, "Absolutely. And now, Blake arrange that ASAP. I have a feeling a front line is about to pop up in our backyard." Aurora said, "Then we do this one of 2 ways. We dig in, create our own front line, out and away from Outpack, or we get a move on and hit him before his front line is set up and active." Draco told everyone, "I vote for digging in. Now, hear me out. We dig in. Get claymores set around our perimeter. We dig a trench, 6 feet wide, 10 feet deep, the entire length of what we consider our front line. We have the elves glamour the trench. The fairies can shimmer the majority of our troops. The witches remain with the pack, cloaking it with an invisible shield." Adriana nodded. "It could work. We know Pog has only 1,000 or so men. His artillery is another thing altogether. I can probably think of something there. As soon as we can determine he's on the move and where he's headed." Evander said, I know if I was him, I would already have a destination, possibly halfway set up. Why haven't we found it? That kind of thing isn't easy to completely camouflage. Adrian and Caleb stood up. On it, we will start with satellite photos of the entire country. We must have missed something. Maybe y'all should call Simon in here. Ask him his opinion. Maybe he will know something, without knowing he knows. Evander nods, then responds, Pog is aware he has to be present to address the indictment. He can't send his attorney, nor can he appear by proxy. If he doesn't, the impeachment proceeds in absentia. Mom taught me that. And in absentia, the one who hasn't shown loses. So our window narrows. We don't have up to 8 days. I believe we have less than 5. Caleb came running back in. Fort McNair is mobilized. Moving to set up at Gettysburg Battlefield. He's making a statement. He considers this a civil war. Instead of a war between the states, it's a war between species. Adriana responded, That makes perfect sense. The bloodiest battleground in American history. 50,000 men died on that ground, each one fighting for what they believed in. Every one of them there to protect their home, their way of life. A symbolic presentation of human solidarity. It's genius, in an insane kind of way. Blake asked, Don't they say all geniuses are insane? Well, whoever they are.
Chapter 23, Pog Needs a Lot. Adriana's POV.
I rode Argonne to Gettysburg. It was already showing signs of military bivouacs on the eastern side of the massive stretch of land. We landed on the west side. It was far enough away. The troops could only see this side with binoculars. Ezekiel, our favorite elf, glamored the 3 of us. As we walked the parameters of where we would set up, Zeke said, You move the earth. Place that trench the entire width of the battlefield, smack dab in the middle. I will glamour it, so it isn't detected until too late. I grinned. I agree. But not until we know they're planning to strike. I don't want some fool falling into it before time. Do you know when the ferries will arrive? He said, 2 days. The night you cross into their territory, I will go with you. It will be nice to even the playing field. Your idea will definitely preserve the earth. Unlike the first time, this area was lit up with cannon fire. Evander walked over. The bears have arrived. In the tree line to your left. I looked over and smiled at Bruno. His bears already digging in. I asked, Are wolves on their way? He nodded. Yep. We are going to boldly set up camp in full view of the enemy. They will see a minimum show of force, while the elves and bears will remain in the wood line. With the cats, the fairies will retreat to a safer distance once they have carried out your orders. I clapped my hands. I can't wait. I'm excited now. Evander took me in his arms, laughing. You still won't share your plan? I laughed with him. Nope. I want everyone surprised. It will certainly catch the enemy off guard. Our vehicles started arriving, and we began setting up camp. I wanted to cook tent up first. Our people needed full tummies, and we had 7 cooks already prepping dishes to have ready at dinner time. Dad and Adrian had arrived with Doc. She went immediately to the triage tent. Evander said, Are you sure we don't need to truck in our artillery? I shook my head no. We won't need it. Pog has once again underestimated our species. He believes we are all brawn. No brains. I want to perpetuate that assumption. He needs to see this as an easy win. Build his already overinflated confidence. He smiles at me. I have to admit, your conniving little mind should worry me, but I find it intriguing. One of the million reasons I adore you, my beautiful woman. I leaned into his arms and asked, Is it too soon to FaceTime Mom and talk to the kids? He grinned, shaking his head no, while pulling his phone out to do just that. We were 2 days in and completely set up. Our lookouts let us know Pog and Silas had arrived and moved into a tent at the far back of the encampment. I told Evander, "I have to find Zeke. I move in tonight." He responded, "Baby, please, tell me what your plans are. I am worried about you going into the enemy camp. I can't watch your six if I'm not there." I held him tightly and whispered, "This is one of those times I need your absolute trust. I will be shimmered, and Zeke will be with me." Adding glamour, "No one will know we are there. They certainly won't be looking for 4-inch tall fairies, my love." Dad walked over, handing me listening devices. "If you have the time and the opportunity, place these in Pog's tent. The Strategic Command tent. Even General Miller's? I believe that's where we will glean the most information." I grinned and said, "You got it, Dad. Not sure how much we're going to gather much information. They have to make their move by tomorrow night. The next day, at the latest." Evander laughed. "I'm ready. We have struggled with not killing this guy for over a year. It's past time we take him down. The humans deserve better." Dad said, "Once this is over, the revised treaty will hold a shit ton of surprises for the humans." I immediately asked, "Will they like them? Or are we starting a war of a different type?" He chuckled. "They will have no choice but to like the stipulations I want in place. They will agree, or watch the America they have enjoyed and abused for so long crumble. I will not see our people go through anything like this again. If they even think about it, I will imprison their entire race." I looked, wide-eyed at Evander. He's serious? My mate is smiling like an idiot and laughs. He never says what he doesn't mean. He would do it. To protect them from themselves? I mean, come on. They have proven, repeatedly, they suck at governing themselves. They review their options and deliberate over their decisions, but nearly always decide to act anyway, before a definitive plan is solidified. They never consider the long-term effects of what they have decided. It was nearly midnight when we made our way to on the enemy's side of the battlefield. Pog wants a symbolic war on an historical battlefield. Then he should be prepared for a more realistic enactment than he can imagine. 10 feet away from their lines, we all shimmered down to our little fairy selves. My wings are transparent and iridescent. My skin in a light lavender and smells like it. My hair is all the same color, a vivid lilac, while my eyes sparkle like amethysts. I love the look of my fully transformed fairy, but don't want to be 4 inches tall for long. I flitted to Pog's tent first. He was yelling into the phone, apparently talking to the Chief Justice in regards to his impeachment hearing. He's convinced he will be exonerated, and hearing him, he thinks he is going to be able to kill Dad. Good luck with that. I planted the bug under the edge of his nightstand and raced for the general's tent. Meeting up with Zeke outside the Strategic Command, he said, "A little elven technology. At 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Everything electronic on this base will start to malfunction. Unfixable glitches in their matrix, because it isn't of human technology. All elven magic." We both laughed at that, and I finished up with my plan. Time to return back to our camp. We all need to be well rested for tomorrow night. It's going to be a long one. I snuggled into Evander just before midnight. We had barely closed our eyes when we heard the unmistakable thwunk of a mortar being fired from a tube. All of us hit the ground running before it could hit. The sound of a dozen more firing. The sky lit up like the 4th of July. All fairy dust and lights. Glitter everywhere. Dad and Evander started laughing. "Oh my goddess, did you do that to all their munitions?" I nodded, Everyone needs a little glitter in their lives. Pog needs a lot.
Chapter 24. Wait and see. The Vander's POV.
The soldiers have understood they don't have any workable artillery. They're trying to decide their next move. When we heard Pog screamed, "Shoot them. We are going hand to hand." I looked at my dad. He grinned. Their weapons won't fire. Will they, Adriana? That's what you meant by giving Pog the full enactment experience. She shook her head. No, they will fire. An average of 2 to 4 rounds a minute, depending on how fast they recover from the fact they no longer have fully automatic weapons at their disposal. I laughed again. My little genius. The first wave was ordered forward and engage, charging across the approximate 11,000-acre field. They hit the 10-foot-deep trench. 200 men landed one on top of the other due to the impetus of their charge. The elves immediately closed the top of the trench, allowing the next wave to run through the line. Our men had moved into position. The bears and cats were flanking the sides. Both sides met nearly in the middle. We were dropping humans right and left. Dad and I were making our way to Pog and Silas. The general fell in the second wave. Silas pointed his sidearm at us. Standing in front of Pog, Dad moved, quick as lightning. Snapping Silas's neck, I grabbed Pog, and Dad bellowed out, allowing Donal forward. "Your leader has been captured. If you want to survive this night, stand down and surrender." At least 300 men lay dead on the battlefield. Not one of ours. The remaining men were all loaded into buses and trucked to 2 caves on our territory, guarded by 20 of my best. Mom called the Chief Justice, informing him we would be personally delivering Pog for the impeachment hearings in 2 days. And no, we would not turn him over until he was convicted. Adriana was playing with our babies when I located her. Olivia was trying to sit up, while Avery jabbered away about his Uncle Blake being mad. I asked why Blake was mad. Adriana giggled. Apparently, Avery is hiding from Blake. Our son has some powers. Not sure which faction yet, because I have only been told that he can actually make Blake fart bubbles. It seems Blake had given Avery bubblegum, telling him that if he swallowed it, he would fart bubbles. It didn't happen, and Avery was disappointed. When he told Blake, our son was informed that it always happens when Blake himself swallows gum. He proceeded to swallow his gum, and Avery made sure he did indeed fart bubbles. Except now, he doesn't know how to stop it. And Blake hasn't stopped farting bubbles all over the pack house. I absolutely lost my shit. I was laughing so hard my sides hurt, tears streaming down my face. I tried to ask if Adriana could fix it, but she just shook her head. Messing with another's magic is bad juju. I won't even try it. Either way, it's harmless, albeit embarrassing, but it will wear off in 24 hours. Eric walked in laughing. Who fuked with Blake? He is literally so pissed off. He's farting bubbles, actual bubbles. And that was all it took to break me. Avery said, "Him told me I would, but I didn't. Him was making fun of me, so him can fart bubbles." Eric laughed. "Oh, my sweet Avery, you did that to him? You are my favorite nephew. You deserve some ice cream." He carried him off, and we hear Avery tell him, "I, your only nephew. Don't try to fool me. I make you fart bubbles." Adriana grins. That boy is getting too astute for his own good. I have a feeling our lives are about to get interesting. I laughed. Like our lives have been boring up till now. She laughed and said, "True story." All of us were in the conference room. Anderson had asked to speak with us. When he walked in, I offered him a whiskey, which he took as he seated himself. He began, "I would like to return with my pack to Sacred Moon. I need to take them in hand and remind them why I am Alpha. I have rescinded Lincoln's title and will be attending Alpha Academy. Dad said, better hold off on the academy until I have cleared the Shifters Council of all traitors. There is no way Hicks was working alone, and I refuse to take any chances with them anymore. I asked, what are your plans for Amelia and Allison? Will Chansey be returning with you? He shrugged. Amelia is my son's mother. I will set her and Allison up in a cottage out on our western border. They will only be allowed at the pack house for mandatory meetings and events that require the entire pack's attendance. I believe Chansey is going to ask to join your pack. He is getting quite close to his great-grandchildren. He seems to have purpose again. Adriana smiles. Mom would like that, I think. She deserves to know her dad. It's been a long time coming. I pull her into my lap. I love how she loves my parents like they are her own. Mom comes running in. Ada is coming, bringing Vaughn. And Ricky said she and Samuel will be here a couple hours from now. Anna, come. Let's prepare a family reunion feast. I'm so excited. She left as quickly as she had blown in, and Dad laughed. She's a little excited. I chuckled with him and asked, "Ya think?" Anderson said his goodbyes, and Blake was walking in as he left. I couldn't even look at Blake. Eric didn't have that problem when he asked, "What's up, Bubbles?" I lost it again. Dinner with my entire family was such a good feeling. We had all decided the girls would not travel until the war was resolved. But now we can get together and feel safe. As long as this new treaty is recognized, our kind should be able to live peacefully. It's possible the humans will refuse it. It's a wait and see.
Chapter 25. His priority.
The highest ranks of Draconium sat in the back of the courtroom. 3 chief justices sat the bench, listening to the prosecution enumerate the charges against Pog. The grand jury were hearing everything Pog had done and had ordered done. His defense attorneys, whom, ironically, were shifters, laid out a case blaming everything on Hicks and Silas. They claimed that while Pog had signed off on the testing orders, he signed hundreds of such orders on a daily basis. He had never had the time to read through them all. It wasn't enough. And the grand jury unanimously voted for impeachment and sentenced him to life in a maximum security facility. It was a win. Now it was Aurora's turn. She stood in front of the grand jury, laying out the class action suit to compensate the families of the fallen. She had included the families of the soldiers who had died in Pog's war. That was the decided upon name of the conflict. It would go down in history as Pog's War, a blight in the history of a once great nation. The grand jury took 2 hours to deliberate and came back with a settlement agreement of $48 million to be distributed evenly among the victims' families. Draco sat with the Speaker of the House as he was acting president until such a time as an emergency election could be held. Draco said, "I expect the election to be held within a month. Only candidates sanctioned by the supernatural realm will be entertained. Every candidate will be vetted by my ranks, and there won't be any doubts to their loyalty and dedication. Do not try and propose a candidate with any kind of shady past. We will have final say." The speaker told him, "King Draco, I am afraid the United States government cannot allow you to dictate who, among humans, is the proper presidential candidate." Draco laughed. "Why not? That's how your elections are always handled, correct? Your parties choose the most malleable person they can find, so they can control and manipulate them into doing that party's bidding." The speaker blustered and stammered. No, that isn't true at all," Draco said. "Shut up. Which lobbyists are pushing what agendas you are working towards? Who has you in their pocket, Mr. Priz Speaker? Just get the candidates readied and send me the list. I will let you know who I approve of. Then we will discuss the conditions of the new treaty." Every one of the ranks loaded up and headed to the Shifters' Council. walking straight to council chambers. Draco turned to a clerk and asked, "Where is the council?" The clerk was shaking in his boots. Responded, "They all went into hiding when word of a possible war came to us." Evander roared, "They left everyone alone here in Capital City? With no protection? Cowards! Who did they leave in charge? Get them in here. This will not stand." Adriana comforted him to calm him down. Draco sat down to the side of the rectangular table. Evander sat at the head. A few moments later, an elderly woman walked in, nodding to Adriana and bowing. First to Draco, then to Evander. She asked, "To what do we owe this honor? I wasn't informed you would be visiting, King Draco." Draco sneered, "Cut the shit. Which councilman is your boss?" She murmured, "Harrison." Draco nodded, then told her, "Call the remaining councilmen. Tell them their seat has been recalled. We will be appointing new members, effective immediately. I was going to speak with the remaining 10 members and choose who would stay, but to find out they all ran and hid away. Tells me they are incapable of making the tough decisions. I can't have pussies on my council." She walked out. Evander said Adrian and Eric ran down a list of potential candidates. Mom and Adrana vetted them. I am leaning towards 2 of each species. It will even out discussions, and every species will have a voice. Draco said, "Your decisions, son. They will be your counsel. Make sure they understand you have final say in any decisions they are voting on, and you are always the deciding vote in any tiebreaker situation." They sat, going through the candidates, knowing they were all good men. Finally decided on the 10 he wanted, he took out his phone and called every one of the men and 3 women he'd chosen, asking them to be at council headquarters by morning. After a restful night's sleep, Adriana and Evander met with the council members and got them all sworn in. Adriana then asked, "If any of you have office administrators, personal assistants, or people only you trust to fill those positions, it is greatly advisable. If not, we will hire ones we know are loyal and will be capable at their jobs." They all said they had people they would bring in with them, so that was one less worry in our transition to this new council. Things are changing for our supernatural world, just as they are for the human one. They have proven for the last time they can't be trusted. They didn't want to go this route, but they have left us with no choice. Pog is being punished, but none of his joint chiefs were. None of the humans who knew got fired. That's all. Ignorant. They are each culpable, guilty. When they all drafted the treaty, they had done so in all fairness to the humans. It was changed a week ago. They broke too many of treaty provisions. Now, to do so brings them under Shifter's jurisdiction if they sign the treaty. Not that Draco will give them a choice not to. Evander took 2 extra days to make sure all the new council members and their families were settled in. When word came from back home, the babies needed mama and daddy time. That's something that everything else in the realm falls second to. Evander's family will always be his priority.
Chapter 26, Our Right to Exist. Adriana's POV.
The time has come to sit down with the new administration. The president is Thomas Evans. His mate is a witch, ironically enough, even though he is human. Simon is actually the new Secretary of Defense, which will be helpful to our species. The treaty was presented and was met with mixed reviews. We had laid out our provisions in no uncertain terms. We governed ourselves. Any crime by a human against any of our kind was answerable to our jurisdiction. We wouldn't interfere in human affairs unless it directly affected our species in any way. The treaty would be broken. Any further testing of our kind, the treaty is void. Any aggression towards us will be seen as active war, and we won't tolerate it again. The president wanted to add that Draco had to change terminally ill children. Dad shot that down in a hurry. Evander told him, "Those are our provisions. We are the only ones with provisions. You lost the right when your government attacked us. Either sign the treaty or don't. Either way, we will continue to govern ourselves." I am definitely not mated to Mr. Congeniality. He gets snarky when his word is questioned, just like the arrogant alpha he was raised to be. It always makes me laugh when he becomes the big tough guy. The president asked if we would allow our people to join the human military, and I responded, "That has always been our policy. Our people have served in your military for as long as your militia has been in existence. That needn't change." He nodded, then looked at Dad. "I didn't mean to offend you, King Draco. My niece is terminally ill, and I thought if I put the all children in there, it may sway you." Dad sat quietly for a minute, then said, "Send me her file. I will run it by my advisors. I can't promise anything, but I promise to consider it." I am relieved that everything seemed to be smoothing over. Hopefully, we can get through this, and then we are home free for good, or at least until some new catastrophe happens. It feels like that has become our life. Mom moved over to finalize everything for the treaty to be signed and sealed. She stood after Ott was signed and read the entire thing to everyone there. Some smartass in the back yelled out, "Yeah, well, what happens if a human turned out to be mated to a super?" Mom smiled and told him that Supernatural would be the happiest person in the world. "You see, we embrace our goddess's edict that our mate is perfect for us, or they wouldn't be our mate." Dad smiled and took the treaty, pushed his ring into a dollop of wax, putting the seal of the dragon on the document. Then the president did the same. Using a metal stamp pressed into molten gold, they repeated the process on a second copy. Both realms would have an authentic copy. We all stood to leave. Shaking hands, I gave Simon a hug, told him we would see him soon for dinner. Maybe a little sparring. He chuckled. We had reached the president, and as he shook Evander's hand, he remarked, "You drive a hard bargain. It felt like we would all die if I didn't sign." Evander pulled away and asked, "Are you saying you agreed under duress? If so, this treaty is null and void." President Evans said, No, not that at all. I was making a joke. I apologize. It was ill-timed." Evander nodded and responded, "I understand. I get it. Your people are fighting for your right to survival. My people are fighting for our right to exist."
The end.